is resumed. Are there any others who wish to comment and contribute to the motion, please? Thank you, Honourable Minister of Traditional Governance and Institutional Strengthening. You have the floor, sir. MP for North East Wale Canal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Thomas, for allowing me for contribute the motion that Prime Minister has moved. That an address be presented to His Excellency the Governor-General as follows. We, the National Parliament of the Solomon Islands, here assembled, bagged, leave to offer thanks for the speech which has been addressed by our Head of State to Parliament on the 12th of August 2024. Mr. Speaker, like my esteemed colleagues who have spoken before me, I extend my gratitude and also my people of Northeast Guadalcanal to the Governor-General of Solomon Islands, our Head of State, for the speech from the throne. The significance of that speech from the throne, Mr. Speaker, is both practical and ceremonial. Practical, it marks the opening of the new legislative session for 2024. And from a ceremonial standpoint, Mr. Speaker, the speech summarizes the government's intention for national unity and transformation, outlining the broad policies, goals to be achieved in this tenure 4 years. Mr. Speaker, yesterday the MP for Aoke Langalanga pointed out that the MP for North East Guadalcanal has favorite verses in the scripture. And yes, it's true, Mr. Speaker, and he refers to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1 down to verse 8. And me wish him sit down lo here for herem, time by me respond lo book. Because my favorite verse reminds me to follow everyone, both the MP for North East Guadalcanal and the MP for Aoke Langalanga, that there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. For everything there is a season, and for a time for every matter as we embark on this journey of governance, especially in the context of unity and transformation. Mitufala must acknowledge that every season can bring forth both opportunities and challenges lohemia. Just as there is time to plant and a time to harvest, we both recognize the importance of our timing in our actions, Mr. Speaker. We are called to embrace a government for national unity and transformation, the GNUT government, where Mifalabai Waka, the fostering peace building as a multi-stakeholder effort. This is not just a political mandate, but a moral imperative, Mr. Speaker, to bridging gap between the state and its citizens, healing divisions, and build a future grounded in equity, justice, and progress. The wisdom of the book of Ecclesiastes, Mr. Speaker, have also teaching me that there is a time to break down and a time to build up. In our case, it is a time to dismantle the barriers that divide us and construct a governance framework built on collaboration and mutual understanding, Mr. Speaker. Biblical governance, Mr. Speaker, calls for us to be stewards of this country, of our communities, of our people. If we go back to the book of Proverbs, Old Testament, chapter 29, 2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. This country rejoices. But when the not so righteous people, or you may say the wrong people rules, the people groan. And it is the responsibility of the two sides of this house, the three sides of this house, for you, me, everyone, as mandated by our people 5 months ago, to lead with integrity, compassion, wisdom, ensuring that the reforms, our reforms, empower traditional systems and structures, time into uplifting of the people going to follow, Mr. Speaker. Governance cannot progress without addressing the wounds of the past. The wisdom of the book of Ecclesiastes reminds that there is a time to kill and a time to heal. Healing goes beyond policies, Mr. Speaker. It involves active engagement with our people, with our communities, countrywide, the 9 provinces of the country, this country. We must listen and act with compassion to heal the scars of conflict, division that separate us so many times. I'm not going to list them this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, but I'll quote from the book of Isaiah. Chapter 61, verse 1, we are here reminded, the Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon us, for the Lord has anointed us to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent us to bind up the brokenhearted. As we pursue national unity, Mr. Speaker, let us embrace this calling, creating space for dialogue, where every single voice from the 4 corners of this country must be heard. The book of Ecclesiastes tells us that there is a time to weep, there is a time to laugh. As leaders, we must cultivate empathy, recognizing that the joys and sorrows of our people are intertwined, Mr. Speaker. The government for national unity and transformation has prioritized the well-being of the people of this country. Me put him Solomon Islands first, Mr. Speaker. The GNUT government, the GNUT policies. Our priorities is Solomon Islands first. Fostering an environment where success is shared and where we support one another in times of grief. Let me quote Wale scripture, Mr. Speaker. Romans 12:15 says, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Our policies reflect the diverse experience of our people, ensuring that our traditional structures remain relevant and connected to the heartbeat, the inner core of our communities, Mr. Speaker. Let me go down and look at my ministry. A key priority for my ministry for the 100 days is to retable the traditional governance custom facilitation bill in cabinet and then in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. The Bills and Legislation Committee, BLC, made substantial recommendations in 2018, and since 2019, the ministry has been addressing this recommendation, Mr. Speaker. 2 critical recommendations, a policy on traditional government and an anthropological study, are still in progress, Mr. Speaker. The bill, Mr. Speaker, is essential to reflect the aspirations of the people of this country. But it is complex. Dealing with the socio-legal issues around custom, dispute resolution, and governance. We must thread carefully in these areas to ensure that our reforms are both, Mr. Speaker, inclusive and effective. Let me work and put you to transformation and a metamorphosis here. Transformation within the Ministry of Traditional Governance can be likened to the metamorphosis of a caterpillar to a butterfly. A powerful symbol of change and growth. This transformation, Mr. Speaker, is not merely about change for its own sake. It's about elevating the ministry that I am in from its current state to a dynamic, impactful entity capable of driving unity, peace, and progress. Mr. Speaker, the process of transformation includes a change of mindset, building capacity, fostering collaboration, community empowerment, and embracing diversity. We must move on from fragmentation towards coherence, Mr. Speaker, from limited public engagement to meaningful interaction, and from resistance to change towards an openness for new ideas. In envisioning, Mr. Speaker, my ministry as a butterfly, the ministry is working, striving for integrated governance, community empowerment, and peace building. Our focus will be on blending traditional practices with modern governance, ensuring that our rich cultural heritage is preserved while embracing innovation for the future. Transformation. Ministry Blomi Falagare, my new peace policy here, Mr. Speaker. I will quote from Mother Teresa. She once said, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. In this spirit, the ministry that I am in is developing a new peace policy to address the evolving context of Solomon Islands. We have consulted across various provinces on this, and we are now consolidating those findings, Mr. Speaker, to inform the new policy which we will aim for presenting the cabinet sooner. Let me talk on the strategic framework, local government and church, because ministry blomi, church is inside there. And one fella, religious ministry. Mr. Speaker, our ministry will soon review the strategic partnership framework started in 2021, 2025, where a governing relationship between the government and ecclesiastical institutions. Mr. Speaker, a symposium will be held to assess the success and challenges of this partnership, as the role of churches in peace building remains vital to the stability of our society and country. I am pleased to report that we have facilitated the 2024 funding allocation for Kata Solomon Islands Christian Association Sikkim church members, but it needs a bit more for supporting village-based churches, rural areas, Blayumi. Mr. Speaker, on the reparation policy, this one addresses the restoration of dignity for those conflict times here. It is a complex issue, Mr. Speaker, at times raising questions around human rights abuses. And it will require careful consideration. The establishment of a reparation commission is a crucial step forward. And we plan to table this policy in Cabinet for further action early 2025, Mr. Speaker. Let me look on the reintegration policy. The implementation of the national policy on reintegration of those involved in the past issues or conflict falls under this ministry's justice program. This policy, stemming from the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions, aims to reintegrate those affected by the then tension of 2003. Our consultations have revealed that the focus now should be on education, skills training, livelihood programs, rather than direct financial compensations, Mr. Speaker. To move this policy forward, we as a ministry, Bamifala, resuscitating the Reintegration and Reconciliation Committee and develop a detailed reintegration plan with a costed budget. This will ensure a clear pathway for the implementation of the strategy, Mr. Speaker. Let me dwell now on conflict impact assessment. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is also developing a peace conflict impact assessment policy. This initiative will complement the existing environment impact assessment under the Environment Act. Without peace, Mr. Speaker, there can be no sustainable development. And this assessment will ensure that peace-related issues are considered alongside environmental factors in development projects. This policy, Mr. Speaker, aims to prevent unresolved social conflicts from hindering genuine investment and development efforts. It will also establish a legal framework for the ministry's role in peace building within the context of development. Mr. Speaker, let me dwell on peace education here. Peace education, Mr. Speaker, is long overdue, and the Ministry of Traditional Governance, Peace and Ecclesiastical Affairs is working closely with the Ministry of Education and Human Resources to develop a comprehensive peace education curriculum. This will ensure that the next generation is equipped with the knowledge and the values to navigate the complexities of our globalized world while maintaining our cultural heritage. We also engage with the Solomon Islands National University to integrate peace education into higher learning institutions, ensuring the sustainability of Okata hard worker. These efforts, Mr. Speaker. The next one I'm going to dwell on is national consciousness, identity, and unity strategy. The ministry is developing a national consciousness, identity, and unity strategy to foster a shared sense of national identity and unity among the people of Solomon Islands. This strategy will involve a series of programs, Mr. Speaker, and initiatives designed to strengthen our collective identity, supported by national agencies and institutions. The national NCIU strategy is in its final stages now, Mr. Speaker, and we look forward to presenting a comprehensive paper to Cabinet in due course, in any time soon, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the policies outlined above do reflect the critical roles of my ministry in these 100 days and for the next 3 years. The implementation of these policies is aimed at addressing the social unrest that affected this country. With the recent mandate to expand into traditional governance and non-state actors, the ministry's role has become even more now pivotal to the direction, to the development of this nation. Mr. Speaker, mi garem time to for respond lo wisdom lo book of Ecclesiastes. Yesterday, my good man friend from the other side heard me talk about the ambition of this government. We must first recognize that ambition must be grounded in the realities of this nation. It is easy to call for high aspirations, but governing demands careful planning and pragmatic solution. Lo address blo excellencia. He laid out a vision for achieving transformation. And this government is committed to realistic outcomes that benefit the people. Simply having ambition without a grounded strategy is not enough. Therefore, the Honourable Leader of Opposition's remarks fails to acknowledge the balance between ambition and actionable plans. GNUT government, Mr. Speaker. Time him talk about ministerial discipline and responsibility, Mr. Speaker. I am a minister of the Crown, and I will respond to that. He criticized the minister's commitment and discipline, suggesting that we, including me, lack the competence to lead our ministry. This is not only an unfair generalization, but also a misrepresentation of the hard work being done across the government and the ministries. Me and other colleague ministers are dedicated to our work, our roles, alongside with our permanent secretaries, to ensure that the government policies are implemented effectively, Mr. Speaker. It is easy to cast doubt on the effort of others, but this government is focused on result and delivering its promises, Mr. Speaker. I will not dwell on maybe point number 4 in relation to expenditure on overseas delegation, because it has been answered there, Mr. Speaker, by our Prime Minister. He mentioned that our leader, the Prime Minister, is not providing sufficient strategic leadership. On the contrary, the Prime Minister has outlined a clear vision for the nation, grounded in achievable goals and realistic policies, Mr. Speaker. True leadership is not about short-term wins, but about guiding the country through complex challenges with a steady hand. The GNUT government. The Honourable Leader seems to overlook the fact that meaningful transformation requires sustained effort and long-term planning. The government strategy is clear. It is focused on growth, stability, and national development. You wait, time if I'll back table in budget law 2025, Mr. Speaker. Transformation and accountability, Mr. Speaker. I am a minister of the Crown. And the Honourable Leader spoke at length about transformation as being mere rhetoric. I must remind this House that transformation takes time. The government has already begun laying the groundwork for structural changes that will benefit the people of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, criticism that transformation is not yet visible does not acknowledge the extensive work being done to ensure that these changes are sustainable, Mr. Speaker. Accountability remains a priority for this government. As the Minister of the Crown, the upcoming budget by the Minister of Finance will reflect the commitment to implementing these transformations in a responsible and measured way, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Leader raises civil servant and me as a minister, our boundaries, ministerial boundaries. The relationship between ministers and the civil service, Mr. Speaker, is suggesting that ministers should not overstep their boundaries. Well, me agree that there should be a clear separation of responsibilities. It is also vital for me as a Minister of the Crown to lead the ministry that me look after with direction and purpose, Mr. Speaker. Our civil servants work hard, and us ministers do collaborate with them to ensure that policies are implemented effectively. The Honourable Leader's concern about overreach is unfounded in the context of professionalism shown by us ministers and the civil service in this government. Bami not touching education and curriculum because the Minister of Education, he will articulate on that. So as the Minister for Health, the Minister for Tourism, she articulated close to 45 minutes. Infrastructure had gone on for nearly half an hour. Bami talk corruption noma. He accuses this government for me tolerating corruption. Simply not true, Mr. Speaker. This government has made significant strides in strengthening anti-corruption measures, including legislative reforms and accountability mechanisms. The fight against corruption is a priority, and we are working to ensure that all sectors of the government are held to the highest standards of integrity, Mr. Speaker. I will not touch on climate because the Minister is sitting right here. Mr. Speaker, I'm landing now. While the Honourable Leader of Opposition raises some valid concerns, his speech contains some fellow exaggerations here and fails to recognize the progress made by this government. Transformation does not happen overnight, Mr. Speaker, but this government is laying the groundwork for a better, more prosperous Solomon Islands. This government, the GNUT government, we remain focused on delivering the changes needed for the long-term benefit of our people, and we will continue to govern, the GNUT government will continue to govern with discipline, vision, and commitment led by our Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the above remarks, with these few remarks, I support the motion and I humbly take my seat.
Thank you. We now give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Environment, Climate Change and Meteorology and for Gabu. Have the floor, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the motion to thank His Excellency, the Governor-General of Solomon Islands, for the speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency, Reverend David Tiva Kapu, on the 12th of August, 2024. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency, the Governor-General's address encapsulates the spirit of unity, transformation, and commitment towards our beloved nation. On the outset, Mr. Speaker, I would like to reiterate His Excellency's reminder to us of our national motto: to lead is to serve. This guiding principle is especially relevant as we navigate the challenges posed by climate change, resource scarcity, and global economic crisis. His Excellency moreover emphasized that we must work diligently to earn our livelihoods, and that the reliance on handouts fosters a sense of entitlement within our society. Many individuals currently expect MPs to meet their personal requests, which skews the perception of government effectiveness, reducing it to mere personal benefits rather than provision of essential public services. This mindset of dependency presents significant challenges, and it is vital that we address it. Mr. Speaker, I would like to express my gratitude to His Excellency, the Governor General, for his articulate address, which highlighted the key priorities of the Government for National Unity and Transformation. His Excellency also spoke about the challenges we must confront and avoid to achieve meaningful, beneficial, and sustainable progress in our nation. Mr. Speaker said, I share the sentiments raised by His Excellency that our national quest for infrastructure and economic development must be undertaken in a balanced manner. We all know our country's economic base is also largely dependent on a narrow natural resource base. We must therefore ensure that our quest for advancement and transformation must not be at the peril of the natural environment, for the natural environment remains our basic source of sustenance. We must embrace the values of environmental stewardship, facilitating community engagement, genuine investment, balancing productivity with a commitment to optimize benefits of resource exploitation while safeguarding for future generations. Mr. Speaker, firstly, before I touch on my ministry, I would like to touch base on some aspects of our economy. Mr. Speaker, none of us in this honorable chamber denies the fact that the economy is struggling to keep pace with our population growth. Mr. Speaker, there should not be a blame game on how our economy is performing. The performance of our economy is not solely influenced by government policy. There are shocks in the economy that are beyond the government policy to fix. Some of the shocks are external to us, and no amount of domestic policy intervention will change its bearing. Mr. Speaker, in the last 24 years, this country has gone through a very challenging time. We have the ethnic crisis, natural disasters, health pandemic, and a number of riots. These events caused major shocks to the economy and pushing our economy to recession and even edging us closer to depression at times. Mr. Speaker, we are so thankful to God and previous government's leadership that we managed to navigate our way out. Mr. Speaker, the problem we face today is also a legacy issue. All of us, all stakeholders, all governments since independence, the multilateral and bilateral development partners, the Central Bank of Solomon Islands, and all of us are to blame. Mr. Speaker, we must not lose sight. The policies that we advocate are forced upon us by multilateral development partners are coming back to haunt us. For example, the structural adjustment programs in the late 1980s. These reforms led to the abolishment of national shipping, the privatization of some of the state-owned enterprises. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, some of these policies do not match the dynamics of our economy. As a consequence, Mr. Speaker, the industries that were once thriving and driving this economy all stumble due to transport difficulties. It impacts on the production, value chain, as these commodities rely on efficiency transport. This is saying, Mr. Speaker, no one size fits all. You may observe him over the last decades or 2 decades that Aoke advisors thought that what Aoke sabi apply lo developed world or sabi apply lo here. Size below shoe blow that different from size below shoe blow, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can observe that some of the investments by our development partners are lacking strategic consideration and not targeting growth sectors of our economy. Much of the assistance are disproportionate towards urban centers and sectors with lower economic return. The development partners must question themselves, Mr. Speaker, whether they are pragmatic and realistic in the approach to growing the economy. And this is an important question in our pursuit to transform this economy. Mr. Speaker, it is worth stressing that our development partners must ensure their support is country-driven, focusing more on growth, and not based on their geostrategic or geopolitical agenda. On the domestic front, Mr. Speaker, so much burden has been placed on our fiscal policy to solve our economic woes. There is a tendency to think that fiscal policy is the only means we can address the economic headwinds we are facing. Mr. Speaker, there are other policy parameters that need to step up. Mr. Speaker, the PAC chairman, member for Central Honera, highlighted the need to increase consumer demand to augment growth in the economy. I fully agree. He highlighted the need to increase consumer demand by increasing public servants' wages. Very valid argument. Mr. Speaker, but it is not as simple as we might think. Mr. Speaker, we already have a huge wage bill in our budget. Unless we expand the fiscal envelope, there is limited space available for further wage increases. We can only do that by reducing our development expenditures and crowd out government investment. There is an opportunity cost, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important to point out that there are other policy parameters, such as our monetary policy and financial sector policies. At the moment, it is not clear if our monetary policy or financial sector policies are doing enough to augment growth in our economy. Mr. Speaker, one fundamental area to support drive growth in the economy is through increased lending to private sector. But one of the challenges faced by our people is the lack of capital finance. Banks are not willing to lend to private sector, citing risk as the main reason. But Mr. Speaker, let me remind this chamber, the truth is that banks in this country are not willing to take risks because they get a lot of revenue from low-risk activities. Foreign exchange or the non-interest income component of the balance sheet. So how do we address this, Mr. Speaker? It is all within the jurisdiction of the central bank to do something. If the monetary policy tools used by the central bank is not working because it is blunt, then use other policy measures to support our economy through increased lending to private sector. Mr. Speaker, a lot of liquidity has been locked in the financial system, but they could not lend because of the passive inherent risk. But the biggest reason is because they are more than comfortable in the FX market, foreign exchange market, to keep making profit for them. Now let me turn to my ministry. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology plays a very important safeguards and protection role. My ministry is charged with the important responsibilities of shaping and enforcing policies and strategies that safeguard our natural resources and protect our rich, diverse biodiversity, prepare for and respond to disasters and climate change, and providing meteorological and allied services. Mr. Speaker, climate change is an overarching risk to growth. Solomon Island is extremely vulnerable to climate change and natural disasters. My ministry is committed to delivering on the functions set for under the relevant acts of law and the policy priorities set by the government for national unity and transformation. We are committed to our vision for a safe, sustainable, and resilient environment for Solomon Islands. In this connection, I would like to take this opportunity to update this chamber on the implementation of the 100 Days Policy Program assigned to us under the flagship of the Government for National Unity and Transformation. The review, assessment, and report of all development concerns awarded has been completed and ready to be handed over to Cabinet. Commissioning of the Sikaina Communication Center, Mr. Speaker, which is being planned for the 14th of September, is being hindered by bad weather. Conditions for the finalization of the date of commissioning. Our people of Sikaina remain amongst the most vulnerable, and the communication center has been prioritized by the people as the top priority to help them increase their resilience as a result of better connectivity and communications. The government has responded to the urgent priorities of some of our most vulnerable people. In regards to the declaration of protected areas, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce that I have, over the course of last week, signed off on the instruments for the declaration of Waihita Conservation and Protected Area in the East Makira and Pamahima Tribal Forest Protected Area in Central Makira. We see an encouraging trend of increasing interest from resource owners across the country to protect their areas of natural resource. The Integrated Monitoring Reporting Verification Toolkit has been developed and officers in my ministry have been trained. This initiative will enhance our ability to monitor and verify greenhouse gas emissions, monitor our mitigation efforts, and monitor climate action impacts and climate finance flows. This is also very important to track our overall climate goals and meet international reporting requirements under the Paris Agreement. The launching of the website should happen by the end of the month. Mr. Speaker, in relation to our legislative agenda, we have worked on 3 important bills in progress. These are the Environmental Bill, the review of the Meteorological Act, and the review of the National Disaster Council Bill. Work on the draft Environmental Bill is making very good progress. All provincial consultations have been completed, with Kodokkanal province remaining the only province yet to be consulted. Drafting instructions for the amendment of Meteorological Act have been completed and handed over to the Attorney General's chambers. Work on the review of the National Disaster Council Act and its drafting instructions have also been completed, and we look forward to submissions to the Attorney General's chamber for further progressing the drafting instruction. Mr. Speaker, apart from the specific activities prioritized for implementation within the first 100 days of the GNUT government, my ministry also continues to be committed to delivering results and the relevant strategies and the technical functions of the ministry. We seek continual improvement and explore ways to lessen impacts on the environment from land and sea developments and reduce waste generation. The Honiara Sustainable Solid Waste Management Project is an imperative project that is worth mentioning, Mr. Speaker. Through this initiative, we intend to develop our first ever landfill site and facility in Solomon Islands that will be situated inland of the Tenaru area. This is because the Ranadi landfill has peaked its capacity. Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend the cooperation and support from other government agencies such as the Ministry of Land, Housing and Survey, the Honiara City Council, and the Kodokkanal Provincial Government, and the Solid Waste Management Steering Committee on coming together to deal with the 80 tons of municipal waste generated daily in Honiara. Mr. Speaker, the management of solid waste in the Solomon Islands is a critical issue due to its potential effects on human health, the economy, and the environment. The Solomon Islands face several challenges in managing solid waste, including insufficient legislation, limited infrastructure, high costs associated with waste transport, and a lack of resources such as personal facilities and financial investment. Under the GNUT policy direction to reduce waste generation, promote recycling, and minimize chemical pollutants, my ministry, guided by essential documents such as the National Waste Management and Pollution Control Strategy 2019 and the National Environment Management Strategy, is also working on the proposed Product Stewardship Scheme policy, which introduces a sustainable financing model to support a resilient and self-sustaining waste management system for Solomon Islands. We plan to present and seek the endorsement of Cabinet on this policy before the end of the year. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the Governor General alluded to the fact that climate change remains the single greatest threat to sustainable development and that our people live with and are faced with the threats of climate change every day. On a global scale, the 2022 Global Risk Report lists climate action failure, extreme weather and biodiversity loss as the 3 top most severe risks over the next 10 years. In the 2021 World Risk Report, Solomon Islands was listed as the 2nd most vulnerable country. We remain with very high levels of vulnerability, exposure, and susceptibility, and significantly low levels of coping capacities and adaptive capacities. The need to build resilience remains imperative. My ministry will continue to support climate change adaptation and mitigation interventions to reduce risk and vulnerability and strengthen our local communities' capacity to plan, anticipate, and respond to climate change and its impact. Similarly, in the disaster management and disaster risk reduction space, we continue to advance initiatives aimed at enhancing our ability to efficiently and effectively respond to a disaster situation and improve preparedness as well as disaster risk reduction. In addition to our already approved determined contribution, we now have a draft NDC investment plan for validation. The NDC investment plan, including a pipeline of opportunities, has the overall goal to enhance the government of Solomon Islands' ability to implement mitigation and adaptation opportunities with the renewable energy, land transport, forestry, and waste sectors. The mitigation and adaptation opportunities fall within both the existing boundary of Solomon Islands' long-term low-emission development strategy and National Development Strategy 2016 to 2035, as well as the NDC 2 issued in 2021. The other urgent priority that my ministry is working on at the moment is the development of a national adaptation plan to guide our adaptation efforts. We remain committed to building a safe and disaster-resilient nation through an interconnected disaster risk management system that contributes to protect critical infrastructure, communities and their properties, and enhance disaster responses and capabilities, ensuring preparedness and effective management during crisis. Much of this, Mr. Speaker, very much centers on our ability of mechanism to monitor and predict weather, and therefore the generations, analysis, and management of meteorological data and information. My ministry has a big focus on improving early warning system so that important weather and climatic information can effectively inform policy formulation and activities in other important sectors. For instance, the meteorological data and information is critical in other sectors such as agriculture and infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, in spite of the fact that the work and mandates of the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology is critical to other sectors, and to ensuring resilience, my ministry remains a fiscal orphan. Financial assistance or resources allocated to my ministry on an annual basis is approximately 2% of each annual budget. This is not enough to allow us to effectively undertake the important functions and services that we are expected to perform for the government and our people. I remain hopeful that the above statistic will progressively improve, not only in the coming budget, but also in the future ones. Mr. Speaker, this point on financing leads me to a critical point that I would also like to highlight today, which is the issue of climate change financing and disaster risk financing. Ensuring access to climate finance is a fast track and at a scale where it is transformative and contributing to decreasing vulnerability and increasing resilience is important. Climate finance has also a key relevance to supporting our domestic economy. Levering climate finance to crowd in additional development financing, including private sector financing, to not only support address climate change, but also overall economic growth. Mr. Speaker, my ministry's scope of responsibility oversees our land, airspace, and exclusive economic zones. And these are critical to the nation's well-being, as no development can occur without them. If we fail to ensure the health and stability of our natural and man-made environments by properly monitoring, evaluating, and acting on environmental changes, our development goals and ambitions will be undermined. Additionally, we must be able to recover from our environmental failures, such as ecosystem degradation, tropical storms, food insecurity, coastal erosion, ocean acidification, and other nature-induced disasters. Whilst my ministry is committed to environmental protection and the conservation of our important resources and biodiversity, we are challenged by a limited capacity for surveillance and enforcement. Our ability to monitor development activities and the state of our environment depends very much on our capacity to effectively monitor and enforce environmental standards and laws. Mr. Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to mention the important role and support of our donor and development partners, which has greatly enabled us to provide the services that are needed. I therefore wish to express sincere appreciation for both financial, technical, and human resources support provided by our partners and donors to my ministry. The partnership that we have forged and fostered remain crucial to delivering for our country and people and ensuring a resilient Solomon Island. With these remarks, I beg to take my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Thank you. I will give the floor to the Minister for Commerce, Industry and MP for North Treasury.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to deliver this brief statement in response to the speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency Reverend David Tiva Kapu, the Governor-General of Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, let me first congratulate His Excellency on his recent appointment for assuming the role of Head of State representing His Majesty the King Charles III seamlessly. My people and I are pleased with his appointment and look forward to his leadership in the coming years. So I also join others to thank him for eloquently outlining his government's, the current government of national unity and transformation policy statements. Thank you also for extending us the warm greetings and special wishes from His Majesty King Charles III. So I truly agree with His Excellency that we need to remind ourselves of our individual and collective duty of national building. We are all Solomon Islanders, and we pledge our loyalty to the Constitution for our beloved nation and our commitment to lead and create an improved living condition for our people. So I know that all of us in this honourable House are well aware of the value and potentials of our people and their resolve to determine the course and outcomes of their destiny, and the need to participate more actively and meaningfully in the development of our nation. So without doubt, our people have the natural resources to position themselves in a sound foundation to sustain and improve their living standard. What they require is necessary government services, right skill sets, and financial capital. Mr. Speaker, empowering our people in the rural areas to achieve their aspirations and live a better life is amongst many of my ministry's responsibilities. Delivering on these responsibilities is nonetheless not easy. It requires resources, right skills and commitment, and collaboration from stakeholders, including support from our development partners to turn policy objectives and desire to reality. The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Labour and Immigration is committed to help our people achieve the aspirations and bring about better life for all through undertaking necessary reforms for investment to flourish and income earning opportunities to increase and be created. Mr. Speaker, in this connection, allow me to turn to the government's 100 days program and update the floor on the implementation status of program undertaken by my ministry. The first policy statement is to advance export policy framework towards development of national export policy. This is the development of export policy, and the expected outcome, sir, is export policy framework to be submitted to Cabinet. This is 100% completed, sir. Second, introduce subsidies to stimulate and increase volume of exportable commodities. Our outcome here, sir, is to increase export volume, improve trade balance, and sustain foreign reserves. This is an ongoing activity. However, within the period, we have so far received 4 applications seeking assistance from the ministry. MTB has approved 1, and the other 3 are still progressing. For this, we thought we achieved only 50%, sir. Third, ensure that adequate funding is allocated to SEMA, to support SEMA to revitalize its training function. Our expected outcome for this is SEMA to receive that funding. SEMA has actually received 12 million within the period. So progress rate of achievement here, Mr. Speaker, is 100%. Note, however, that there are other issues that are challenging SEMA's rolling out of its training function as well. And these, of course, you shall finish on the land issues around buying centres or SEM, for example, in Noro and also in Russell Islands, and Waihimi awaiting that one. On that specific area, especially setting up of a refinery both in Noro and Russell Islands because of land issues and on repair land matters that the government is currently negotiating. Thought that we only achieved 20% of that. So, the next, Mr. Speaker, support the implementation of immigration border management system to strengthen national security. Our expected outcome for this is to progress report on the border management system submitted to Cabinet. Sir, the progress report on border management system is still with the ministry, but we thought it will come to Cabinet, and this is 90% achieved. Next, sir, finalize the immigration bill. Our expected outcome for this is drafting instruction finalized and submitted to Cabinet. Sir, immigration legislative policy is still with the ministry and await to Cabinet. For this, thought we give ourselves a 90% success rate, sir. Sir, next is the formalized accession to UN Convention 2000 on transitional organized crime. Our expected outcome on this is to have a Cabinet paper submitted to Cabinet. Cabinet paper is still within the ministry, but is prepared to go to Cabinet. So this is 95% achieved. Next, sir, is to review the reserved list of business for locals and strengthen enforcement mechanism. Our expected outcome for this, sir, is to review. The review is completed and enforcement strengthened. Gathering of data both from companies and foreign investment registries on shipping and forestry sector. First draft review report submitted already to our executive. Second draft in review report submitted to PS of, that is the policy secretary of the PM office, and awaits Cabinet submission. That we gave it a 50% rate success, sir. Next, sir, is to pursue the Special Economic Zone Bill to Parliament. Sir, our expected outcome for this is reintroduce the Cabinet paper and Special Economic Zone Bill to be tabled to Parliament. So this has gone through Cabinet in August and has been approved to be tabled in Parliament. For this, sir, we give it 100% success rate. Next, sir, is the progress, the legislative reform on the micro and small and medium enterprises. The outcome we expected on this is a review of micro and small medium enterprise draft bill that is completed and submitted to cabinet. Sir, the task force and technical team is performing their role in working with legal drafting team of the Attorney General's Chamber in providing additional drafting instructions. The SME bills, draft bill 2024 has now reached draft 2, just requires minor improvements and will be submitted. Sir, we achieve a success rate of 70%. Next, sir, is to develop apprenticeship policy. Apprenticeship policy submitted to cabinet. Sir, this has been done and it's a 100% success rate. Next, sir, is to develop national industrial policy, and the outcome expected on this is national industrial policy concept paper submitted to cabinet. Sir, this has been the draft has been finalized and it will be submitted to cabinet soon, and the success rate is 95%. Next, sir, is to pursue UNIDO membership to enhance industrialization opportunities. This has also been submitted to cabinet, and we have achieved that milestone as well, sir, 100%. And finally, to initiate discussion to convene National Business Forum. This, sir, is a community goal and a roadmap developed and submitted to cabinet. Following the National Economic Summit, sir, we think that we should also, in our various sector have other forums as well, specific to our purpose. Sir, is still work in progress. We thought we have achieved only 50%. Mr. Speaker, that concludes my update on the 100 days program of the GNUT that my ministry has been tasked to accomplish. Overall, the ministry has achieved a success rate of 81.25% in our view, which is considered highly satisfactory, as major drawbacks are on land issue and minor technical and drafting work, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, just bear with me because ministry below me and a little bit big ministry. We just noticing when going into the ministry that each divisions even have one or two legislation or acts for get administer. So bear with me if me not cover them well, or if me a little bit go over the time expected of me, sir. Sir, I now wish to outline the broader Solomon Islands government priority and policy areas my ministry has been programmed to implement under the GNUT government in 2024 to 2028. First, on industrial and commercial estate development, a special economic zone and economic growth centers. Mr. Speaker, this policy priority promotes and supports industrial development in the country to attract investors and enhance export and trade. Investing in appropriate technology, provision of incentives, and streamlining of regulations will be critical to ensure industrial development is achieved. At the center of this initiative is the establishment of the special economic zone to attract foreign investments, create job opportunities, and increase exports. On special economic zone, sir, as I have earlier stated, the special economic zone bill has been approved by cabinet and now ready to be tabled and scrutinized in this honorable house, hopefully later this year. The special economic zone, when developed, will offer tax-free packages to new investors who wish to do processing and manufacturing primarily for export. I am personally, Mr. Speaker, excited about this special economic zone because the incentive package, services and infrastructure support that will be provided will transform the flow of foreign direct investment into the country and the economy. Mr. Speaker, I believe you're all fully aware of the positive outcomes of the special economic zone, but allow me to briefly explain. Focused on economic growth, the special economic zone will serve as catalysts for economic growth by creating hubs of industrial activity where businesses can operate under more favorable conditions, leading to higher productivity and output. Second, it will increase export potential. The special economic zone will focus on export-oriented industries, intentionally to significantly boost the country's export, improve trade balance, and increase foreign exchange reserve. Third, on regional development, by placing special economic zones in underdeveloped regions, the government can stimulate local economies, reduce regional disparities, and promote balanced national development. Fourth, to enhance infrastructure development. The special economic zone typically requires significant infrastructure investments, which can have positive spillover effects on surrounding areas, improving overall connectivity and access to services. And fifth, skill development and human capital. So the special economic zone will attract industries that require more skilled labor. A spill-off effect will be on investments in education and training to enhance the overall skill level of the workforce. Mr. Speaker, sir, just last week, we had an investor in Onera who has been monitoring the special economic zone development in the country. The investor, Sir Hemi, keen for establishing a sustainable industrial park development to start with fishing and then export of frozen fish. But the byproduct of fish skin turned into another factory that will produce some kind of leather that will also be exported. Or in the long run, that can turn into an input of a textile industry. So this chain of factory can be accommodated in a special economic zone. These are the kind of investors that we must all work hard to support and bring them home in our country. And they can do a lot of great things in transforming our economy and provide income earning opportunity to our people. Mr. Speaker, development of a special economic zone or industrial commercial estate development and or the economic growth center requires government strong support in basic infrastructures such as road, bridges and wharf, as well as utilities such as electricity, water and communication. The absence of these infrastructure and essential services will discourage investors to invest in a special economic zone or industrial estates. Mr. Speaker, let me just turn to the development in Mamara, Tasigorongo and Mawo metropolitan city. This has been very slow due to the absence of essential infrastructure and services. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, make a call that collaboration between Solomon Power and the Mamara Tasigorongo and the government to build another solar power generation system at the Mamara Tasigorongo Mago region. That is very critical to provide electricity and manage the current high cost of electricity that discourage investors. Sir, as a matter of fact, we have a number of potential investors in hotel industry, logistics, in manufacturing, fishing companies, that all get interested for invest long Mamara metropolitan area. However, due to the unavailability of electricity along that whole area, sir, they have delayed their plans. So it is important for us to invest in infrastructure in this area. We are aware also that the Guadalcanal Province headquarters is in the process of moving into that area as well. As such, establishing their headquarters, police post, and police presence will be very important and essential for the development of Mamara, Tasigorongon, Mavo, a metropolitan city. Also, sir, rehabilitating the road through West Guadalcanal will have go through a Mamara, Tasigorongon development area is important for that purpose, sir. And of course, sir, building of an international standard seaport facility at that area, that Mamara, or somewhere in West Wale, is very critical for us. So that even on the page no concessions, long Moniera, that will spread the development in that way. But importantly, in particular for Mamara, Tasigorongon, Mau development, sir. I am aware, Mr. Speaker, sir, that Imusavelo Townsville peace agreement where Imilakema development not to be concentrated along Wale for Imingo, along provinces belong Yemi, that is acceptable. If we can do it, let's do it. But this is low-hanging fruit, sir. There are basic infrastructures that Emlo here finish. If Guadalcanal province and people embrace it, which they have, you must go for it, Mr. Speaker, sir, so that we quickly, harvest some low-hanging fruits, and then you may look at a tangible result in transforming our economy. Sir, on value addition and downstream processing, the role in value addition and downstream processing is to partner with private sector in encouraging local innovation, accreditation and certification in food technology, cosmetics processing and manufacturing for local and export markets. The ministry has provided support to small and medium industries in agriculture, fisheries, forestry and manufacturing sectors. Some examples of processing that have been supported by my ministry include virgin coconut oil production, tiba milling, cocoa powdering, fish filleting, honey production, and kava powdering. In this area, our goal is to enhance productivity and quality by helping business acquire necessary skills and technology. Further, the ministry would like to see value addition and downstream processing activities are supported with necessary infrastructure, innovative solutions, and improved access to relevant business advisors. So my ministry is currently working on National Industrial Policy 2024. It is a strategic attempt by the ministry to promote value addition, productivity, export orientation, import substitution, sustainable production, and integration of firms to international markets. The policy goal will be to increase the proportion of manufacturing in our GDP through structural transformation of the Solomon Islands economy. The targeted outcomes, sir, include increased productivity of the industrial sector, increased diversification of industrial products, increased value addition of primary products, and reduce, of course, of our trade balance, which is deficit at the moment. Mr. Speaker, there are considerable challenges ahead. However, the ministry is working hard to ensure targeted outcomes are further made by improving skill set and therefore productivity of workforce through apprenticeship program beginning in Sinu. We start revitalizing more this apprenticeship program long Sinu after it stopped for a while. I think stopped in 2019. Lord, July or June, we have 100 new intake that goes to Sino, and thereafter 100 every year, and we'll also look at other institutions that can take on that as well. Second, we would like to promote innovations and technology and enhance capacity of industries. Third, by encouraging affordable business development and dissemination of processing technologies. And fourth, support other ministries on infrastructure, renewable energy, and development of laboratories for industrial purposes. These are prerequisite to industrial development, Mr. Speaker. Labour Market Information System, sir. The Labour Market Information System is an essential tool in shaping policy development in education, training, investment, employment, and youth in Solomon Islands. Initiated by the Labour Division in 2019 and supported by the Solomon Islands government ICTSU, the Labour Market Information System concept paper aims to attract donor support and has since been incorporated into the government's 2021 budget. The Labour Market Information System, or in short LMIS, will collect and analyze data from a wide range of stakeholders, including employers, government ministries, and NGOs. The information will inform policy decisions and provide valuable information to the government, private sector, students, and the public. According to the Ministry Development Budget for 2024, under the reform portfolio, indicates how essential this LMIS project is to the government. Labour officers and enumerators recruited were able to conduct Labour Market Information System survey in 6 of the country's provinces. That is in Honiara, Guadalcanal, Central, Renville, Isabel, and Western from 2021 to 2022. Due to the reprioritization of other important commitment in the previous years, the LMIS was not implemented in 2023. However, in the second quarter of this year, the remaining provinces, Makira, Malaita, Te Motu, and Choiseul, have now all undergone the Labour Market Information System survey. So, the Immigration Division has embarked on a reform to review its legislation in order to modernize immigration services in Solomon Islands. Consultation on the review of the Immigration Act has been conducted and completed in the past years, with a policy paper being done awaiting the next steps to be taken. Mr. Speaker, the current changing global security environment requires reform to legislation governing the management of our borders. Further, a well-coordinated border management system, including better management of human and financial resources, is necessary to develop and deliver a professional and sustainable immigration services. The aim is to facilitate international trade and investment and protect the country from irregular and transnational organized crimes. The following work are currently being undertaken as part of a comprehensive reform to modernize Solomon Islands immigration services. The development of a border management system with funding support from Australia and technical support from Papua New Guinea. The border management system promotes seamless movements and equips us with a customized system aimed at effectively managing all points of entries with advanced security alerts and online visa processing and payments. This will simplify visa assessment and payment. Third, policies on legislative reviews that would modernize and match the changing security challenge in immigration and increase threats at the borders. Restructuring of the Immigration Division to an operational standard that will provide for the increasing demand of immigration service and to meet international standards and best practices. And lastly, the decentralization of passport and immigration services, including in Aoke, Noro, and other provinces, and islands, including, of course, our foreign missions in Fiji and in Australia. Mr. Speaker, the purpose of coming to the National Investment Policy and Promotion Strategy, in short NIP strategy, sir, the purpose of this is to ensure that an enabling environment to attract foreign investment in the country is established, supported by sound investment promotion strategies, incentive packages, and monitoring mechanisms. The NIP strategy promotes Solomon Islands as a conducive investment destination, create employment, and diversify the economy. So the National Investment Promotion Policy Strategy was launched in March 2024. Its implementation has led to the review of the Foreign Investment Act 2005 to accommodate the establishment of a proposed investment promotion authority. Mr. Speaker, we may not be there yet. However, some of the positive outcomes that are expected to be attained with a NIP strategy are as follows. Attraction of new industries. The new investment policy is poised to attract new industries, especially in sectors where the Solomon Islands has untapped potential, such as tourism, agribusiness, fisheries, and renewable energy. Second, increase competitiveness. Simplifying regulatory process and offering incentive puts the Solomon Islands on a competitive edge in the global market, attracting both domestic and foreign investors. Third, on innovation and technology transfer, investment flows are also targeted at bringing in new technologies and innovative practices, helping to modernize the local economy and improve productivity across sectors. Fourth, on infrastructure development, investment often come with infrastructure improvement which can have spillover effect on the broader economy, such as better roads, ports, and utilities that benefit other businesses. And finally, job creation. When more business invest in the country, increased investment, job opportunity will be increased, wages will be improved, and a higher standard of living for the population secured. Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, there is always risk in opening the country to foreign entities. These risks include over-reliance on foreign capital, displacement of local businesses, environmental degradation, and social discontent. The implementation of these reforms must therefore be carefully managed. A balanced approach with strong regulatory safeguards and inclusive policies will be key to ensuring that the benefits of these reforms are broadly shared across the population while risks minimized. Mr. Speaker, we are confident that these risks have been managed and will continue to be embraced through promoting and prioritizing downstream processing and manufacturing investments that utilize our natural resource as key inputs, the establishment of a special economic zone. Third, enforcing Schedule 3 Investment Regulation 15 by ensuring that business activities that are for Solomon Islanders are protected for Solomon Islanders. And finally, by enforcing environmental and social safeguards as required by our laws or where necessary by international development best practices. So trade and export promotion is crucial for the country as it serves the key purposes of market diversification, innovation and competitiveness, foreign investment attraction, developing of small and medium enterprises, and economic growth and job creation. In this year, my ministry is working towards two major international expo. China International Expo yearly event. The exhibition date will be on 5th to 10th November 2024 in Shanghai, China. And second, Expo 2025 at Osaka, Kansai in Japan. The event will take place in Osaka, Japan for 6 months. The date will be on 13th of April 2025 to 13th of October 2025. Companies that have quality products that meet international market standard have been identified to participate in these exhibitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, with respect to the important role to strengthen export, my ministry is currently working on the national export policy in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade and the Pacific Islands Forum. The expected outcome of national export policy is to have a positive impact on the country's economy and contribute to its sustainable development. However, Mr. Speaker, achieving this outcome will not be possible if we cannot produce quality products at the volume that meets international market demand. This has been our issue due to supply constraints in our economy. To resolve this, the following will be addressed in the national export policy: identifying and prioritizing countries to establish trade commitments with, taking steps to achieve export targets, determining industrial or sector development, taking a coordinated effort to upgrade testing facilities to global standards, and support businesses in improving product quality and in producing high value-added products at a competitive price. Sir, my ministry mandate also is on consumer rights protection, focuses on promoting and safeguarding consumer legitimate interests through consumer protection, certified goods, updated weights and measures regulations, and price control services. In doing this, the ministry is progressing the review of the following legislation, i.e. the Consumer Rights Protection Act, the review of Price Control Act, and the review of Weights and Measures Act. On labour law review, sir, my ministry is being assisted by the International Labour Organization in conducting a comprehensive desk review on our labour law and related laws. The recommendation of the desk review is now with the Labour Advisory Board for its attention and deliberation. There is a high possibility to review the labour law and related laws. Sir, I wish to briefly touch on minimum wage. Minimum wage is to protect workers against unduly low pay. It helps ensure a just and equitable share of fruits of progress to all and ensures a minimum living wage to all who are employed and are in need of such protection. Mr. Speaker, fixing of legal minimum wage is a legal requirement under Section 30 of the Labour Act. Setting of legal minimum wage to a certain amount is an important process that requires a wide array of information that can only be done through consultation and a nationwide survey. As required by the Labour Act, as well as international labour conventions, it is an obligation under the mandate of the Commission of Labour to implement this programme. So fixing of legal minimum wage cannot be assumed, nor can it be estimated to be set at a certain amount. Rather, it requires concrete information based on actual raw data and figures on all employment undertaking around Solomon Islands. Since 2019, after the legal minimum wage rate per hour was set, the inflation rate back then was 1.7%. As of May of 2024, inflation was 3.6%. Accordingly, a slight change in inflation rate does affect the prices of goods, which have an impact on the purchasing powers of the working class. Mr. Speaker, the current legal minimum wage needs to be reviewed to be able to determine a set of legal minimum wage. The Labour Division in the Ministry intends to carry out this work and review the legal minimum wage next year in 2025. The private sector and the small medium enterprise program promotes and supports the establishment of micro, small and medium enterprises, sir. It fosters a competitive and thriving business environment with increased business opportunities to diversify the economy and create jobs. The Ministry is currently working on a bill for this purpose. that is to promote the micro and small medium enterprises program. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to take this opportunity to give a brief summary of my ministry's 6 months progressive update on the implementation of key national development programs in my ministry in 2024. So in the first 6 months of 2024, my ministry achieved an overall implementation rate of 70.9% for the development budget. 5 development programs are implemented. These include private sector and SME program, second, the trade and export, third, value-added and downstream processing, and fourth, reform, coordination and monitoring, and fifth, industry and commercial estate development, special economic zone and economic growth centers. A 70.9% spent on development budget is a better result compared to the same period in previous years. This indicates my ministry's commitment in the implementation of government's policy objectives and priorities in my ministry. Mr. Speaker, in this connection, my ministry would like to thank the Ministry of Finance and also Planning. My ministry would have not achieved 70.9% implementation rate of the development budget without the support of the Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination and the Ministry of Finance and Treasury. These 2 central ministries have supported my ministry by not placing reservations in any of the projects we implemented and through timely release of necessary funds and payments. This indicates, Mr. Speaker, the importance attached on my ministry, and I would like to thank these 2 ministries and of course the government in that connection. Sir, on revenue collection performance, sir, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Labour and Immigration has tasked itself to raise $123.7 million in this year, primarily from passport-related fees and charges, registration fees from investors and companies, and work permit. This is only 3.7% of the total revenue estimate for 2024, but nonetheless a sizable slice you would not want to lose, sir. I am not in a position to update on how the ministry is tracking on its prorated targets, but we are well aware that non-tax revenue has been under-collected. The ministry is therefore stepping up its compliance efforts, but maintains the importance of easing and facilitation role it has for investors, company registration, and of course technical skills we need from abroad from time to time. Mr. Speaker, on whole of government revenue performance, I would like to commend the Ministry of Finance and Treasury that revenue collection by July 2024, as reported by the Minister yesterday in his answer to question, continue to show positive improvements. Year-to-date July collection is 57% of the total 2024 original revenue estimate, or 12 million above monthly expected revenue projections of 1,868.2 million. In comparison to 2023, total year-to-date revenue collection up to July in 2024 was above the same period in 2023 by 120.8 million. Sir, we still have half a year to go, and it is risky to count our eggs prematurely. Nonetheless, these indicate early signs that not all is gloom and doom, and we should free ourselves from the attitude that things are only getting worse. To the 2.8% revised GDP growth announced by the Minister of Finance and Treasury in his recent supplementary budget speech at the backdrop of a combined general election reflect its reality on the ground, that is, on the business who paid their tax dues. So there is growth that actually happened on the field. And three, sir, I strongly support the view to scrutinize exemptions item by item and to its details. The positive revenue performance, however, indicate that tax exemptions so far have been granted within the context of the overall fiscal framework of 2024. Finally, sir, I wish to reiterate and acknowledge again His Excellency Reverend David Tiva Kapu, Governor General of Solomon Islands, for the traditional speech from the throne. Thank you to the Honourable Prime Minister to move the motion for us to have this opportunity to thank His Excellency for the speech he delivered. My ministry and I have full confidence in your leadership and on the entire set of GNUT policy reforms. In this connection, my officials echoed their commitment to aggressively pursue the policy priorities the ministry has been mandated to implement. Mr. Speaker, achieving our common desire for stability, unity, transformative economic development and prosperity for Solomon Islands requires the collective responsibility of not only the executive government, but from all of us in this House. We must therefore strive to be constructive, impart positivity, and improve dialogue. In this respect, may I acknowledge the Cabinet Ministers for your commitment to deliver, the Leader of Opposition and independent groups for your effective and constructive oversight role in the House, and all colleague MPs for all their positive contributions in whatever forms. Sir, with these few remarks, I support the bill and resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any other member wish to contribute to the motion? Let me give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Public Service and MP for Enola Bellona. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the chance to contribute to this motion. I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for moving this motion, giving us an opportunity to respond to the speech from the throne from His Excellency David Tiva Kapu. Opportunity for me to expand on what name raised in that for the speech. Mr. Speaker, firstly, on behalf of the people of Enola Bellona, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to His Excellency for delivering such a thoughtful address. I also take this moment to extend my warmest congratulations to His Excellency on his election as Governor General. And we are confident that under his wise leadership, our nation will continue to thrive and move forward. Our speech, Your Excellency, and put a very clear path. I'm not mincing words, blame. He said public service is very complacent. And you cannot argue with that. And contribution below me, by him respond a little bit low some of the points raised, but perhaps give some clarity below some of the programs and policies below public service. Mr. Speaker, let me go straight to the 100 days policy below public service as part of the GNUT government. The 100-day policy, look at reviewing and reporting on the public service terms and condition, finalize the public service bill and regulations, immediate recruitment of critical positions for pushing the policy block government forward. So these are the three main policy areas where we flag 100 days here. I'll start with the immediate recruitment and in support of my honourable colleague Losaidia. One of the big things that we engage Lemna, this fella recruitment block officers MRD. These are very important positions because these are the people that deliver law communities, believe me. These are the constituency development officers, these are the constituent accounting officer and the project officers. So I think it's important for public survey that because these are not finalized yet, no any CDF here, all 50 here do not have access to that money yet because the new bill these are some of the important recruitments and signatories inside Law Count Law constituency. So just an update, Mifala, in partnership with the Ministry of Rural Development, with all the officers are in the process of getting their appointments and contracts starting last week and this week. So this is for the CDO and the CAO, project officer, but I'm behind. So we prioritize these two because these are the two signatories, law account whereby management fund blow, what people of constituency blame me. So that's one of the immediate things, 100 days, we supported the Ministry of Rural Development to ensure that these important positions was a new bill, and these are new positions. So there's 150 plus officers name you have to recruit in. So it was a big job and a lot of pressure come, a lot of colleague blew me, but the extent of this full recruitment, it's never been done before. 150 officers here. So that's why it took some time, and we thank everyone for patience, brother. The review and reporting on the public service terms and conditions. Mr. Speaker, this one I'm also part of the other 100-day policy, which is the public service bills regulation, whereby I'm come to this house soon. This full review is very important because what our general orders blame are very outdated. And a lot of the challenges that our public servants blame me facing is because of this outdated laws that you make out of. So this full public service bill, by him should modernize him a little bit our public service and a little bit reward him or the public servants blame. Some immediate things that me for doing this time, one of which is the contracting of officers. This one I'm start at director level, go up, level 12 to SS3. We do that so that once they're contracted, ogata by Garem ogata performance indicators, so that you miss mark him and watch him outperform. Because a lot of time we're not permanent. That's why complacency has come in when people are a bit complacent because they are permanent staff. But once we do this, or we are doing this, currently already 81 officers will be contracted and but come under this new review that MIFLA conducting. Mr. Speaker, the public service bill and regulation, it's coming very soon by Angolo Cabinet. We are proposing to put that in perhaps within the next few weeks, and then by him go inside. This bill is very important because we are reviewing the public sector remuneration structure blaming. Because previously the structure had level 1 to 10. For you to continue, you have to become an administrator. So a lot of our professionals end up becoming administrators. So you have doctors or lawyers or engineers that become admin because that's the system you make. But this new regulation, public service bill, by categorizing everyone in. So you will have what I call them salary classification. We will have senior executive stream, professional admin stream, healthcare stream, law and justice stream. So you may do away now with this what a scheme where you may do for doctors and lawyers, because they make them not very manageable under the current system. So this one, by coming a new public service bill, once we have this, then all our professionals, healthcare, law and justice, can follow that full stream because in the highest level of Taigo. And that should take care of the different schemes that you may have in place that, based on some assessment, unsustainable. Budget them already shown that big chunk low budget them go to public service remuneration. So that's our contribution to that side, is to try to rein in some of the salaries below what public servants blame has been worked very hard. Mr. Speaker, the bill, if I talk about him here, hopefully we will do it in the not too distant future so that you may have implementing and what public servants blame is I pursue the profession of the go school and the structure and cater for that. Mr. Speaker, this fella case law discipline, I'm also captured quite well inside the new bill here. Discipline what public servants blame me. Our complacency is because of there is no real aggressive drive for addressing now what disciplinary cases blame me. Let me just take an example, the Ministry of Health. This is important for the public. We had a Prime Minister and statement for the subcommittee of cabinet to address the pressing issues of our country. And one of the first things we considered, and we talk him inside the subcommittee, is this issue of health, the medicine. Mr. Speaker, hospital blame me and free. It's already free for citizens blame me. This is one thing that I'm quite unique to me. A lot of the other countries, even the richest country in the world, have not got a free health care. You have to go through insurance. But because of that, they're making things challenging a little bit. But what makes it worse is this fellow attitude of selling the drugs. Sometimes I'm not even fault of ministry. It is these people who decide to engage in illegal activity. And inside that meeting, Blomfellow Subcommittee, Block Cabinet, we had the police, we had the key ministries there were, including Public Service, Ministry of Health. And already I'm reporting some people have already been sacked. And we will continue to address this. Public Service will wait for some of the reports that we're expecting. For some of these officers who engage in these things, have no secret here. Starkle of people say, I want to engage in something, but they choose to turn a blind eye. So it's fault blame everyone. Some of the public are very aware who's engaged in this activity, but they decide not to report it to Public Service, Police, or Health Ministry. Decide for go and make a noise on other platforms. So what I'm saying is, under leadership of PM, I'm setting this for a subcommittee, and we're working hard to address it. And Public Service will do its part. Discipline process here is a bit more detailed under this new act, and we will make sure that we take public servants to task. Those people that decide to abuse the system blame me just because there are some weaknesses. It's a public good, it's not a private good and public good. You may everyone are responsible to ensure that them work are good. So that's one of the things we've covered there. Mr. Speaker, going forward, let me just, one of the questions below Leader of Opposition, or PM, about our trips, me what man little bit fly around to you. So this fellow trip, let me follow, just to expand on what the PM has already covered. We took a trip to Korea. This one was a United Nations Public Sector Forum, and it's a ministerial level forum. If I go attend him, and one of the themes for that forum is digital transformation. And that is the main reason why myself, the PS, and one of the assistant secretaries, we flag attending. Because that is the future of the public sector, is digital solutions to the problem. It's been covered by Minister of Commerce and other honorable colleagues, speech blotter, but it's something that we are quite serious for doing inside the public service going forward, is to come up with solutions to a lot of issues faced by the public service, as a whole. Maybe before start, or not maybe, we will start with the public service ministry, and then if I expand, go out. in consultation with other key ministries below government that deals with IT and communication. So that is the future that you like in. Well, as the minister, this is what Bifa by Trafford win. From that forum, we had a meeting with the UN Under Secretary General, who was also there during this forum, and he's given full commitment for supporting me follow this one. Already last week, I opened a workshop or conference here to do with digital transformation. Some of our public servants are involved in that workshop, and that sets the platform for what Imitrafu building. And that is something that we feel happy that UN commit for help him. We also met with our counterpart of South Korea, and also commit for help him if I have to do the preparatory work to ensure that we're ready when you say forthcome, try and transfer some of the technologies come to you, at least we've done the groundwork. So a lot of the problems or challenges inside the public service and stuck here, but we have to address it systematically. You may do one, finish, do the other, with support of honorable colleagues. You may try and modernize this system, and by take time, it won't happen overnight, but this is, at least this is the intention that Mifla Garem and Mifla plan to push. Mr. Speaker, that one I have the main thing I like to contribute today. I'd like to once again thank the Prime Minister for moving this for a motion. Thank His Excellency, the Governor General, for outlining some of the immediate challenges that you got him. Other colleagues have already spoken. A lot of portfolios brought up. This one is for public service, and I've just outlined some of the key priorities and plans for our ministry. So with those few remarks, I thank you, sir, and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any other minister? I'll give the floor now to the Honourable MP for Mr. Aaron, Leader of the Independent Group.
No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for recognizing the MP for Isarare. Make a contribution to our debate here, and I'd like to, at the outset, thank the Prime Minister for moving this important debate for us to address, and thank the Governor General for his speech from the throne. I also particularly appreciate the bit of a background as well that was given by Minister for Finance as well when he did contribute to this debate and the importance of this speech from the throne, what it means for us. I think those kinds of information really helps. I know all of us, we know, but I think those who are listening, our constituents, are also keen to learn a bit more about the importance of our governance system and how it is that we operate. So I appreciate those sorts of background information that does help put into context what it is that we're doing, the speech from the throne, what it means. In fact, as we all know, Mr. Speaker, we are a constitutional monarchy. So that is the basis for our governance. Other countries have parliamentary supremacy. For us, it's constitutional monarchy. And that is a big difference in terms of how we do things, that the Constitution trumps all that we do, that we try to do things in accordance with our Constitution. Some countries who don't have constitutions develop other systems. And in fact, there's only 3 countries in the world who don't have a written constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think the speech from the throne, I think, as was said by many of the ministers already that have contributed, and those from the opposition as well who have contributed, the Leader of Opposition perhaps has outlined issues that perhaps might need to be taken on board in terms of what it is GNUT is looking to do. But I was struck from the outset, Mr. Speaker, by the reference to the huge responsibility. In fact, the wording used was overwhelming responsibility that our people have placed on the government of Solomon Islands. He uses that word again, uncompromising duty. These are heavy phrases that perhaps reflects the kind of expectation that our constituents have on us. So I think it's fair to say that for the executive, this is a heavy responsibility. For all of us in this House, it is equally uncompromising duty. And the call for sound character and clear vision. Yet some important phrases that the Governor-General did mention. It's quite heavy when he said, "I trust that you will discharge your duty with due diligence and integrity." Due diligence and integrity. Those are powerful phrasing and words, once again, for any person in authority to hear. Undertaking due diligence is something that I think, as a matter of practice, that we all try to do. And then when it comes to integrity, that's another heavy burden on us. Integrity is something that perhaps doing the right thing in terms of instead of doing something for one's convenience. I think that's a description of integrity that some of us really see is something that perhaps needs to be, we need to remind ourselves about what it means in terms of integrity, and to have that at the outset in terms of what it means as leaders, of those of us here in this House, said by the Governor-General, I think needs a lot of reflection by all of us here. The 50 that are here, that are privileged enough to come through the fire of elections and be here representing our people. So I think these phrasings and wordings are things that we should not take lightly. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it's something that we should reflect upon quite seriously. Reminding us of our individual and collective duty of a nation building. That is yet another phrasing in which he reminded us about perhaps the overall role that we have as leaders, national leaders of our country. And that is something that once in a while, hearing these sorts of speech statements from our Governor-General, the Vice-Regal representative here in our country. And here again, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's good to remind ourselves that he is not the head of state of our country. He is the representative of the head of state of our country. So I think, our media also needs to just straighten out these basic facts so as not to get our people, because our people now, you talk to them, they refer to our Governor-General as the head of state, which you take time to explain to them that no, he's not the head of state. So I think it's incumbent upon us, all of us, including our media, to say the facts. That the Governor-General is a Vice-Regal. He represents our King, King Charles. And I think those basic but simple foundation is something that we still need to continue to do. I think it would never end, but we will need to continue to do it. Perhaps it's not surprising, seeing that London is so far away from us, but currently, as the system is, that is the system. And it's something that we just need to continue to remind ourselves as well as our people about that. Indeed, I agree with him when he mentions that the young generation needs to be shaped with the right values and virtues. That is very important, given that they are the cornerstone. He uses the word, the cornerstone of our future. And that is something that definitely all of us here, I think, would agree to. Mr. Speaker, sir, he refers to empowerment throughout the first portion of his statement, whereby he says that the government believes that the way forward is to implement good policies that can empower our people. So empowerment is something that he keeps on referring to about 4 times in his statement here. And I think empowerment is an interesting concept in terms of what it might mean for different people. Empowerment, how do you empower somebody? How does that somebody feel empowered? to do things. But I think, for me, I think it sets the foundation upon which government governs. I think we've heard that not everything can be done by government. There are other activities that are in place as well that do contribute to the nation and the growing and the building of a nation. But we cannot deny, be that as it may, that the government does have an important role in terms of the policy we set, the framework, the guidelines. And I think in terms of empowerment, my take from this is that once we set up these structures and the frameworks, empowerment will flow through them. It is not on us individually to empower people one by one. We set the enabling environment. We set the framework, put the right policies in place, we put the right laws in place, and through those actions, allow our people to be empowered by the opportunities that are created by putting these things together. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's about opportunities and the creating of opportunities. I think that is the key here. Mr. Speaker, sir, I keep on giving this example to some of my people. Some woman arrive at the sell cake, ring cake. Then everyone sell same cake no more. So time or travel sell no is opportunity, you know, give him for try spicing different cake a little bit. Make a money current choice what na buy him today. Taste him different cake a little bit from Blue U. Kind of sense. Provide opportunities whereby people with their own creative ideas that are God-given, their own talents, can thrive and be empowered. So empowering, I think, is an important concept that we need to take seriously into moving forward. One of the interesting parts of this statement does refer to cultivating or cultivate national solidarity. Now that is also, I think, part of the nation building that we all strive towards. And I don't think it's going to be a job that ends. It's a continuous job that we will continue to do, Mr. Speaker. You, me, everyone here, by me continue for doing wakaya until God call them, you, me, next generation come, continue no more. It never ends. We will never reach a place where we feel that, yes, we have perfected Solomon Islands. No, I think this is a job that will continue. And it's up to us to give over the best Solomon Islands that we can to the next generation, and then they do the same for those that come after. And I think that's something that we need to accept. It's not just one government. It's not just one round of a government cycle that will set, that will cure. And Barawa do him now, one him, Solomon Islands will be known for the rest of eternity. But the idea is that we just do our bit to the best of our God-given ability, because this will never end. But cultivate national solidarity. That is very interesting choice of words in terms of cultivating or growing national solidarity. How do you grow national solidarity? How do you grow solidarity? Solidarity is an outcome, it's an output of circumstances, situations that are already in place, pre-existing conditions that we put in place, and solidarity will form out of that by itself. Solidarity. But you may put to now the right environment, the enabling environment, the right programs through which solidarity can be forged. But Mr. Speaker, sir, meeting back law, time Blumi law, other organizations, there's actually a program called a National Solidarity Program. And it's one tailored for countries such as Afghanistan. They have that particular program that even the World Bank contributes to. And it goes right down to the local communities. Samyumia constituency. This is actually a program that is run by some even international multilateral organizations. I don't know whether this is what the Governor General meant in his statement, but perhaps it's good for GNUT to have a look into it to see how we can grow this fella basket here for you fella. Look him how now we can support our people through national solidarity programs. And I think for that particular situation and context, it's because of the context of Afghanistan, that country, you know, very conflict-heavy country, a struggling country as well. I don't know, maybe there's a case to be made for us as well. I know in the United Nations, a lot of focus has been done on the peace building fund, there, but maybe there are other opportunities. Mr. Speaker said that is worth exploring because it's done in other countries that I'm aware of. Mr. Speaker, sir, that fella topic that Gigi had put him out about handouts and the prevailing reliance on handout, he quotes, continues to perpetuate a sense of entitlement within our society. That is so accurate in terms of the picture that it paints, that our programs perhaps have also created a dependency syndrome within our society, that perhaps people are now more keen to just sit back and wait for what time now by CDF come in more, things like that. In fact, I think it's fair to say that in our economy, the dependency on government and on governing is so pervasive, all across even private sector. Some of the private sector people will tell me that, hey, budget lo government no mas good, we will no good too. It just goes to show the dependency, even at that level, on government programs and actions. That if that is missing, then it affects a whole cross-section of the country. And I think that's something that we, as a government, need to be aware of. And in terms of how can we start working to address that, tackle it head on. It perhaps might be an inherent part of being a small island country, that we have that. But it's fair to say that our public service is quite big compared to the size of the nation. That is just something that is a fact. It provides jobs for people as well, families. That is an important part of our economy. But perhaps we should start to look at lessen the dependency on government activities and programs. Otherwise, we get into this cycle of dependency cycle. Mr. Speaker, me refer to this whole cycle as cycle of death. Because we need to depend on each other, money me depend on off, you may run off too. You need to depend go money off, money may run off too. I liken it to a race to the bottom. When we depend, we are racing to the bottom. And man, you think that you come first now because you take stock of something of dependency, time boss him off, you not face man off now. No matter you not come first race here. It's a race to the bottom. I think empowerment calls for us to switch, that we now start people racing to the top. Even if you come last, you go up here. You go up, Mr. Speaker. So I think that's a kind of policy shift that our program should be tailored towards. This big picture, that what are we, Solomon Islands, looking to do in the next few years? How do we start to turn this around? How do we stop this cycle that even the Governor General is now starting to comment about in his statement? And it's something that we should really think seriously about, and I think it should also be the foundation on policies of government. How do we all, the whole of government, move towards changing this for a race to the bottom here, and we everyone try for races go up. I think that is perhaps one of the ways that we can start to look at Solomon Islands as a country of people racing to the top. And I think we have the talent, we have the young population, we have the creative folks who are looking forward to this. I think the idea is to provide them opportunity whereby they can run themselves. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of my anecdotal measurements of how my constituency is doing is the hope that less people will be coming to see me every morning. Me hope for them, yeah? Today, me come out of the house for me, no any single one, break and record. Break and record, no, but I think, you know, sa man siki, I think, no come. But the idea is that we need to start baseline data, measuring, benchmarks. All of these things need to be so important in all the policies that GNUT is coming with. Data is going to be so important. How do you measure the success of what you're putting out if you don't have the right sets of data to start with? The right baseline. How did you get that baseline? What's your methodology? All these things are so important for you, me, for Savia. How we improve. If no more, you me sense in course. We have a policy evaluation unit, I think, that I think their work should never end. Evaluation every week. Things not working, changing, tweak, adjust. Make them go and waka. As much as possible to work. I think that unit should be one of the busiest units because they'll be based on data, running all the data, making sure that each policy, important policy programs of the government is actually working. And Mr. Speaker, this is where I think being a small island is to our advantage because we can tweak a policy if it's not working so that we can see that if it works. It doesn't take too long for us to see whether our policy is working or not. We're a small country, so we don't need to wait to see the impact or the effect of a policy decision taken by government. If it doesn't work, then it's foolishness to continue with that policy. Let's tweak it, adjust it, to make it work as closer to our vision as much as possible. I explained this to my people, Mr. Speaker, Solomon Island was a speedboat. Small country, and full speed go something wrong, lo swing, next direction and cut. Other big countries also want a big steamer. If you like tane, lo you tatane this time now, before effect lo tane come in. We are fortunate to be a small country that we can be nimble in adjusting our policies to fit the right environment, the right climate that continually changes. And we are exposed, as we have already recognized here. Solomon Islands is one of the most exposed countries. Exogenous shocks are part and parcel of being a small island. We cannot control all of these that happen around us, but we can build our resilience, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the 100 days and those that were listed here, and I think some have already been implemented by GNUT since the speech itself, but listed here were the signed Memorandum of Understanding with the People's Republic of China on sanitary and phytosanitary protocols for certain products. This is important in terms of when you want to trade, Mr. Speaker, but on certain products, because we know that our logs have been going to China without any sanitary conditions. We know that any kind of mineral this time ground will go there, no one worry no more, what na ground. There are certain products only for this one, but we know that 90% of our exports with our logs have been going to China long before we switched, Mr. Speaker. Long before we switched. In fact, the GDP got as high as 40% based on logging at the peak of its, at the height of its activities, Mr. Speaker, sir. And a lot of them, up to 90%, Bogona or China. Already, long before 2019. And with that export, with that trade, where are we, Solomon Islands? Where are we? Can we really say that we've grown? Maybe there are some numbers that shows that we have grown. There's been growth economically. But as a least developed country, we still remain least developed country. And that's an indicator that is set by the United Nations. We know that Samoa, Vanuatu, who were LDC's country, no any logging happened there, or to graduate finish, Mr. Speaker. They've already graduated. What are they doing that we're not doing? How can we close this gap? Mr. Speaker, meeting was saying, if you made to do good with them logging industry, believe me, we would have been one of the richest country. the whole Pacific. We would be the envy of Pacific Islands if we had the right policy, the right laws, mix of investors that really want to make money but at the same time want to contribute back to our country. We would be the envy of the Pacific Islands. Because logging, as we know, is renewable. It's a renewable resource. Management blame no more, Mr. Speaker said. But I appreciate these kinds of arrangements, sanitary and phytosanitary protocols. These are the same issues that countries used to block goods from us or a developing country, that you don't meet sanitary or phytosanitary conditions. Yes, as an LDC, you can trade everything but arms. EBA, the so-called EBA, trade everything but arms. But when you want to trade, what I say, sawa fruit blue vales, sawa fly inside them vales. Hard for you to take them. There are these barriers that people are looking to say, is it really protection or is it protectionism? So this is a good move to have this. But at the same time, signing a memorandum when we are already members of the World Trade Organization. All of these are in Article 18, 19, 20. You can see, cover and finish is one, and the agreement on sanitary and phytosanitary protocols is also set up. We are parties to it. Everything lo definition of that. You may know more, you may remind them of that. You may well sign them not on finish. What more you will like him? Same thing should be said to our friends closer. Australia and New Zealand. Tell them the same thing. Tell them the same thing. Okay, borders are open, trade, but please, sanitary usumkam. Supply side needs to be enhanced. Help us out there so that we can send you the products that you can welcome into your borders. That is very good, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I think there have been other resources that have gone already to China that if we had been better at managing it, we would be far better off at this time. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second one here, I think has already been held. The National Economic Summit was already held. Some of us didn't receive invitation, Mr. Speaker. Sir, no good invitation, no, like me fellow Patlo National Part or like that. We would have been willing to come in and sit down for a story, whether you accept it or not, that's up to you. But the word national in front of here, I really thought it was national. But still, we didn't get any sort of invitation. Not that we are crying over it, but I think it just comes back to the use of words. When you say National Economic Summit, Speaker, summit in Lalaswana. When you kasi Montopolo Mountain on summit, there's nothing else beyond the summit. Summit is the highest level of dialogue. And Mr. Speaker, I have to be honest, when we look at the photo come out there, we look at me say, we look at some workshop no man. We look at some summit. It's like Caucus Plus. Caucus Plus is not a development partner with it. A summit would have required Prime Minister Albanese to come. Prime Minister of New Zealand will come. Okotai must come to summit here. Otherwise, name it something else. Make him leave him space for him to go to summit here. Work towards a summit or something like that. Have a summit next year. Probably around forum leaders meeting here. That time, right time, summit every last man down here. Hold them accountable. Bring them on board. A lot of work will need to be done, Mr. Speaker, sir. A lot of work will need to be done as a precursor to get to the summit. Summit here, what the boss here comes to sign no more. Sign them now. One of them already hard-working public servants, ministers already laid the groundwork, Mr. Speaker, sir. And the outcome of the summit is usually a declaration, some commitment that binds. It's binding. I'm not too sure what the outcome of this summit is. some reports, I don't know how accurate, but saying that, by cabinet look now lo outcome lo summit. Hey, cabinet look lo outcome lo summit mo eh, mosem. Look lo outcome lo dialogue or workshop mosem lebet man. But the idea is that I think GNUT is on the right track. Some of these are semantics or phrasings, but these phrasings are loaded. They come with certain predefined definition in terms of what it is we're trying to do. Signing of labor mobility memorandum, that is also a big issue for us. Now looking at nursing that goes out, comes down to our policy. Do we have enough nurses in the country now that we open up to other countries now as well? Is there something in the pipeline that would help us continuously fill our own nursing capacities in Solomon Islands? I would like to think so. I would like to think so, Mr. Speaker, sir, because it doesn't make sense no more to send him what people blame me overseas, time in Misalevan or Garem. And we are in need of them. But I would like to think that there is something in the pipeline that the government and GNUT is working on that would allow policies like this, that more of our nurses will be going abroad, and perhaps newer nurses coming on board, taking over where those who have left. Mr. Speaker, sir, handing over of Sege Airport infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, sir, is so important to us. And here I would like to thank the Minister for MID for his presentation this morning. Very, very impressive in terms of the work that is already ongoing. I'm not too sure in terms of whether it's through grants with these multilaterals, ADB and World Bank, or whether it's through some concessional loans, but investing into an infrastructure is worthy of taking some soft loan, concessional loan for. And just going by the reports by the ADB, much of their funds that they provide to Solomon Islands are grants anyway. And where they do provide concessions, it is very, very low rates, not even 1%. Low interest rate, Mr. Speaker, sir, 0.0. Very good concessions. So when somebody says, oh, we'll give you a loan and it's a 2%, hey, no more. That is not low, yeah. That is like a pretty much commercial loan in other countries. That is not low. You go 0.0, that's beginning to be low. Concession. Mr. Speaker, sir, formalization of the Electricity Advisory Committee, I think, is very important. And once again, the role of that committee in terms of the overall picture of what it is we're trying to do with electricity and the high cost of electricity in our country, I think needs to be something that this committee or the whole of government will need to look into. The cost of power, still #1 in the world. How do we become number 3 or 4 or 5 within the next 2 years? How do you drop down that ranking? You may go #1, let's have a different something more. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you may go #1 no more power, cost of electric. Would it be liberalization of this or opening it up for other companies or competition? These are policy choices that's there for the government to take, and I'm sure they're working on that. Looking forward to hearing what now plans in terms of those particular issues around electricity. So yes, I think in terms of the 100 days that the Governor General had mentioned, yes, there's already some implementation on them, but I would hazard, Mr. Speaker, sir, just a hazard here no more in terms of what it is that we're doing, the outcomes of all of these meetings, dialogues, summits, roundtables. What are you trying to achieve? What is the outcome? So we hope that it's something concrete, that is action-oriented, that puts a bit of a push behind people who needs to be pushed so that they can deliver. Because if it ends up just being another talk shop, hey, that one is to do no caucus. Yeah? You do the dinner meeting. This one is something that needs commitment, I think, Mr. Speaker. So it's just not a box-ticking exercise that we feel that we've completed something and then tell us that we've done this and that. But I think the proof will be in the eating of the pudding, Mr. Speaker. The 4 fundamental pillars that the Governor-General mentioned: economic transformation, enhancing infrastructure, very, very important. As I've already mentioned, I really appreciated the remarks and the contribution to this debate by the Minister of MID, Infrastructure. But I see that there's natural advantages, as mentioned in the statement, in agriculture, tourism, fisheries, and mining. Minulukim logging na. Logging him come in the speech. But in terms of this part of the speech, well, it lays out the natural advantages for growth. It talks about agriculture, tourism, fisheries, and mining. Maybe logging is finally a sunset industry. That finally is a sunset industry for a few years now. But mivala bara lohom blomilo istrare, logging this arrive now, Mr. Speaker. We look out the window blomi, we look him now, bulldozer kakam now. And this bara arrive now, causing a lot of instability and social disruption inside the community already. Things that everyone sabe finish can happen around this particular industry. But Mr. Speaker, sir, when it comes to agriculture, I think it's something to be said there. The next one is tourism. I think those two rank very highly. But you know, Mr. Speaker, I know that there is agritourism. Agritourism is agriculture, tourism combined. And you can look at small island states who have successfully done this. One for the big one now, Jamaica. How Jamaica has combined agriculture and tourism. Tourists actually fly to Jamaica just to sample them now, KK Blogota. Particular place, remote place where I provide them no more particular dish, particular KK. I don't know, Mr. Speaker, no good Yam Festival or South Maleta neighbor blomi, evil dreamers, making everyone come for the Yam lo there. You know, so I West Australia might go there, but you will everyone should come too. Makira, banana, minosare. Mr. Speaker, agri-tourism is an issue. It's quite successful. We can learn from other small islands who have done this quite well. It also moves to the remote areas where tourism, something that's very specific there, that you can find that people will come from hundreds and thousands of miles just to sample it. These are things that we can do. We cannot compete with Hawaii. Some part of Fiji, I think, hard now. Mr. Speaker, some man arrive of Fiji, what's we lose now? No more, no lose here. We focus on something else. Let's be smart. Let's find what our niche can be. You may buy rich to us culture. You may buy rich to us as a people. Let's work on that. No jealous, no because you in general. No more. Find our own place. Find our own particular areas where you can look to expand. Mr. Speaker, sir, the idea for tourism now I think goes beyond just a policy of just perhaps tax breaks, grace periods for potential investors. We need to go now geographic location specific. When you speak to tourism operators that you would like for them to come here, show them the actual site so that they see with their own eyes. If you got a video, play video, and then give them the rundown on what tax breaks you will be giving them if they do come and invest. And then put it out there for a competition to see who number come. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it's good that we're focusing on adventure tourism and these other niches that are there, but I think we can also have at least 1 or 2 big hotel chains inside the Solomon Islands. The Sheraton, bring him out to come. Tala mo kata area na lo de, out Sambisia na lo de. Hem na lo de, latitude na, longitude na. Wind kamosen, high tide em kamosen. Tax break blue by Osem. Everyone lo there must carry first right for waka inside the hotel blue for stand before you go outside. Put those things down, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, said last year I was in Dubai. I was there, invited by a group, non-governmental group, to speak at an event outside of COP. But then I was contacted by some people that I didn't know of, who somehow knew I was there, and they were saying that, hey, mi fala arrive la Solomon finish, mi fala like in building tourism. But no any response. So me say, hey, sorry, me no sabe li valtu and why na mi bara man no anything lo mi na iwal kam looking me. Mr. Speaker said, me no sabe what now, real story behind. But these people were looking like they were investors, already visiting here. They said they already visited Solomon Islands. They were waiting for some feedback from me as to what na proposal blogataya. I don't know. I was caught off guard, Mr. Speaker, sir. It was heartening to hear that somebody was quite excited to come and invest in Solomon Islands. I was also cautious. We say, "Tutot money or different type ganga where totok sweet no more, but no interest for doing one and what like doing yeah." But I found it very, very intriguing, Mr. Speaker, to have meetings with these people who named everyone, Limilo government, naming everyone is a tourism. They seem to know these people already, and they're still waiting for some response. So I don't know. I don't know what happened with these kinds of potential, perhaps that's the word we should use, potential, because due diligence needs to be done, Mr. Speaker, but at least potential. Very, very important, the tourism. Agriculture and tourism, I think, is so important, Mr. Speaker. And when it comes to infrastructure for agriculture, since LDA have living with me, Mr. Speaker, no any abato now. You mean bupusang big at bulmaka around the house no more. And somehow they can go try sell. We need to get back to the level because our laws are there, Mr. Speaker. So we may be breaking our laws no more this time. On the sanitation, our own sanitation, and our own health, safety. It's important to look at those kinds of assets that need to be back here. But of course, the big part of agriculture that we should not forget is the R&D, research and development, Mr. Speaker. That calls for money. It needs for government to invest inside R&D, research and development. When I'm now best root crop for group Losem Island here, how we combine them to follow Yamia for grow better there. Those kind of things happens in the research. Dodo Creek, Mr. Speaker, sir, Dodo Creek used to be the leading research institution, one of the leading in the Pacific, until the tensions go away now. You may not looking more any investment into R&D, research and development. I think it's worth government looking into that, being serious about it. I'm sure if you're serious about it, Mr. Speaker, start a partner by come join it. Start a partner by like come join. You must control the Mokata. But this is the kinds of things that we need to put in place, Mr. Speaker. And once again, it goes back to the opening up of trade to China. We have already been China's biggest trading partner. Already now, for a long time. 30 years plus. Our main place of export has always been China. And we're looking more for go back again more. Mr. Speaker, sir, my concern here is okay, but my concern is too much dependency on one trading partner. We need to diversify even our trading partners. Not to focus just on one and be beholden to that one. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it's good policy to try and diversify not just our products, but who our trading partners are. So that you may not depend too much now on one fella. One fella money lebet squeezing me say, man, how no be fella by sending more. Everything ready for Kabna, but you say also more by how na. No, Mr. Speaker, sir, the dependency and the reliance, what we're trying to get out of nationally, in terms of what the Governor General mentioned, it seems that we're building an international dependency on one particular trading partner. And the ADB came out with a study a few years ago, Mr. Speaker, that showed that we, Solomon Islands, this is way before Switch, We Solomon Islands were number 3 in the Asia Pacific in terms of trading dependency. The percentage of our GDP that's tied up with trade to China. Second normal of Vietnam and I think Taiwan. Then Solomon now, Vietnam. I was looking for other Pacific Island countries, even PNG and Samoa, some of the 2 first movers with the PRC, perhaps diversified their trade. I think it's important that we don't get stuck in this choice of trading partner. We should do as many trading partners as possible. Some of them are as close neighbors to us, Mr. Speaker, sir. Pacific Island countries, let's look at them as well. Don't forget them, Mogata. Let's trade what they want from us with them. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's so important. Infrastructure development, as I mentioned, is very important. Human capital development, once again, our citizens, our resources are in our people. Mr. Speaker, sir, and that one, me bar of happy to mas that the Governor General hem highlighting inside law speech hem to the Parliament, speech from the throne. Mr. Speaker, sir. And then it comes to FDI, foreign direct investment, Mr. Speaker, sir. And in here, I see that there's a targeting of greenfield investments. Targeting of greenfield investments. Greenfield investments, as you sabe, Mr. Speaker, is brand new companies, usually a subsidiary of an existing big company outside. But come set them up subsidiary blend here, the Solomon Islands. It seems like this is a big policy statement for focusing and targeting greenfield. What about brownfield? Yes, you sabe, Mr. Speaker, brownfield is also part of FDI. Why now we focus no more greenfield, we no focus on brownfield. Brownfield and minim no more existing once companies blame work together with them other companies out there. Joint ventures, working together with them with people, building our capacity inside specific specialized areas, perhaps the infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, sir. So I just question why targeting greenfield investments only when you want FDI, foreign direct investment? Is that a policy, law government, to look at multinationals, or I don't know, SOEs, to come set up subsidiaries here? What impact would that have to other businesses who are already existing here? Some of them might be Solomon Islands business. What is the impact? What is the data? What must study, assessment? That we don't want to do something and then create another issue, problem coming out of what we're trying to do. Mr. Speaker, sir. Focusing on strategic investments in fisheries. Very important. Bina Harbour has been talked about for years. I'm happy to hear that things seem to be closer. A lot of partners are starting to be interested in Bina Harbour. Very important, not just for Bina, not just for Malaita, but for Solomon Islands. So important. Agriculture, very important, as we talked about already. Tourism, very important. And if it's so serious about tourism, then yes, it needs the injection that it needs. And need him support here. But this one is also something that we very much welcome, Mr. Speaker, sir. The fourth one here, commerce, small, medium enterprise, SMEs. The Minister just spoke on that. I think the bulk of businesses in Solomon Islands would fall under this category. Small to medium. There's another phrasing there that usually comes even more, that perhaps describes us more, micro. Bara small, more, we name small. Micro, small, and medium. Very, very important for us to allow them to have access to financing. And here in this particular space, I think the idea of incubators, setting up incubator for encouraging small companies where go into certain field where perhaps they're new, but the potential is there for supporting Mogata. I'm also a premature baby inside the incubator. You look after need him some vala funds will come in. Help him to come stand up strong before to go ahead. Put up competitions to who will be the ones that you will be supporting for incubators, so that you have a good selection. Your choice is one out of a pool that allows the return of investment for government, but we put him in by you sabe a little bit that, oh, him at least risk him or some, but I think potentially him should work up. Open it up, allow people to come with proposals for that support. And I think when it comes to the DBSI and the banking system, one of the radical things, Mr. Speaker, that I always think about is, why do we have to follow the banking rules? Why don't we make banking rules fit in Solomon? One of the first things people ask in the banks when they open them an account is like, what na password number blue? You karamini asseto, car, especially when you want to get a loan. So difficult. What the first question is, we disqualify now. Me no track but no two man. Me last time but I have flat no more now. But there are other ways that we can do it, Mr. Speaker. Sir, around parts of the world, they're doing it. In Africa, they're counting cattle heads, a number of cattle that somebody has. You can use that as collateral to get some loan. You may no garam cattle, but no say pick. Find something that's in our context that allow people, so allow for come and a little bit open the water. No give more big selling to us. Something will start the water. I want to promote kasim level more. Okay, all this come in the system here. System where everybody is now inside. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think these are the kinds of things that we need to do for our people. Recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, and then adjust policies for fitting. Some of it we might go against some of our policy advisable, some of our multilaterals when we do something. But that shouldn't deter us. We shouldn't take their advice too. We shouldn't even take their advice if we don't want their advice. We shouldn't take their advice. If we take their advice and we fall, it's on us, it's on us. Because we took that advice. But there's been advices over the years that, for me personally, I don't think it's worth following. We should do our own path, fit in our own context. Mr. Speaker, sir, if they want to put that as a condition, then tell them, okay, I'm all right, if I go somewhere else. But these are things that I think we can do, Mr. Speaker, and we can do well. The Solomon Islands. I look across, I see GNUT, very good people, very talented, waiting there to contribute. Opportunity just needs to be there, Mr. Speaker, sir, so that we can see us moving forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Governor General spoke about the government is committed to the process towards state government. That is something that the Speaker, Mr. Speaker, that the GG spoke about, that I think we need to look at this carefully in light of some of the revelations, if I heard right, by the Prime Minister, about perhaps we might not do it in time, at least the Assembly, the Constituent Assembly, by December 2024. If I heard rightly or wrongly, Mr. Speaker, sir. But it goes to show that I think when it comes to important issues, we have to be very clear in terms of what direction we want to take and how we want to pursue that and what resources we need to put into to make sure that that works. Mr. Speaker, sir, because it's not lost on me, Mr. Speaker, that we had to amend the Constitution to have this come in at the end of the last 11th Parliament, Mr. Speaker, sir. And if indeed, for some reasons, perhaps with resources or lack thereof, we might need to amend again the Constitution because those dates are in there, Mr. Speaker, sir, then we might have to do it. We'll ask the government to bring that early so that our people are aware that this will be delayed. We'll see when we'll delay it until. Mr. Speaker, that is important. And I think when it comes to our foreign policy, friends to all, enemies to none, that is a policy that many Pacific Island countries also have. It's not just ours. I would like to think that some do it better than others. in implementing this French to all, enemies to none. We're a small country. We need all the friends we can in terms of helping us. We need everybody who wants to help us on board. If you are genuine to help us, come. And that's something that I think is very important for us.
Mr. Speaker, if I can interrupt. Mr. Speaker, it's now 4:30 p.m. I seek your consent to move a suspension of Standing Order 10 in accordance with Standing Order 81.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5.
Honourable members, unless any other member wishes to comment on this motion, I will put a question. And the question is that Standing Order 10 be suspended in accordance with Standing Order 81 to permit the continuation of business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The Standing Order 10 therefore stands suspended. We may continue with the business until adjourned by the Speaker in accordance with Standing Order 10.5. Honourable Member, you wish to continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Prime Minister, for extending. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the tax, that's a very good reports we've been hearing since the last Parliament as well, in terms of changing the tax system, introducing the VAT. I think the advantages of that outweigh the disadvantages. So I think that is very much welcomed. When it comes to a smooth transition, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's, the government, it says in the statement, will progress work on a smooth transition strategy towards our least developed country graduation. Mr. Speaker, the smooth transition is not towards, it comes after. Smooth transition comes after graduation. That is the smooth transition. So I'm not too sure what the Governor General is saying here. It allows smooth transition. Once we are graduated, there's a smooth transition period. That it's up to us, our donors, partners, to negotiate each individually with them. What concessions we've been getting from them, how long we'll be getting that concessions, will it be going down in increments up to what, 9 years, 6 years, 3 years? This smooth transition follows after our graduation. But yes, we need to start developing and thinking about that. Now, I say that, Mr. Speaker, sir, because some people are still telling us, hey, we cannot smooth transition, I'm so hard. It's like, that comes later. That comes later. You can extend some of the benefits another 9 years if you want. It's up to our negotiations. Who know you got for nego, must nego good. You know, go sit down no more than aye, yes, yes. Behind nobody, you find them answer. We have to be alert because some of our partners don't want the concessions. They want everybody level playing field kind of thing. And it's not up to them to remind us. It's up to us ourselves. We have to take the responsibility for you may not doing wakaya. They won't do it for us. Mr. Speaker, so that's the reality of multilateralism, bilateralism, international relations. We have to do our homework. We have to be ready. We have to go. But just the definition and the idea of when it starts is so important. If it's 2027, it'll be 9 years after 2027. Around that time, I'd like to think Solomon Islands should be actively nice country, big, economically strong, powerful. We move ahead now. We move ahead now. Mr. Speaker, sir, these are the kinds of things that would attract investors too. When they say least developed country has graduated, never know, FDI might come in more. Investors will look into investing into a country that is up and coming. Nobody wants to, really, when you look at it, nobody wants to invest in the least developed country. Title is people think twice now. How now we go invest no more LDC? Despite all the good work the United Nations tries to promote, least developed countries as an investment opportunity for people, it only benefits the bigger ones. Small ones like you and me, we have to learn from Vanuatu, Samoa, how they did it. And when it happens, sir, it's not as if you wake up in the morning, since we graduate, you open your window and everything and golden streets now. No, it's not like that. Mr. Speaker, sir, we all know. More hard work, but to graduate out of a title of least developed country, hey, that's good. Do you know the only country that can reject them, designate them least developed country, Mr. Speaker, you saw it now. Zimbabwe. Mugabe said, no way. I'm not a least developed country. So they rejected that category, although they fit everything. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's a title that we need to shed. Shouldn't be afraid of shedding. I think it will impart on us a will to work even harder. And know full well that international community will not let us backslide into LDC. Their obligation is to keep us graduated. Mr. Speaker, I was at the United Nations, Waka, when we had LDC 4, I think, in Istanbul, and they're the leaders of Australia ought to come, and I have a one-on-one conversation. Some of us were privy to it, and they said, despite LDC graduation, our support to the Pacific will not go down. We will forego support to Africa, but not in Pacific. When you graduate, and through now, ODA Bloom should go down here. Mr. Speaker, that's true. There's no obligation again for official development assistance because you've graduated. But it's so heartening to hear that one of our biggest partners, Mtale and Commit Finish, we will continue. No matter Samoa, Vanuatu graduate, I'm not making any difference inside your aid, Blumifala. And United Nations, you have to accept that. They said that. And why are we scared? Give me dream. Give me dream. You just really need the right data. So important. Mr. Speaker, I say so important because I heard Minister for Finance mention 830,000 as the latest. I thought we were 730. So that's a difference of 100,000. Mr. Speaker said, that calculation, if it goes into all these tabulations, it might mean that I think by me LDC for a long time, because it's based on per capita. Then when you have an increase like that, it affects the whole formula, Mr. Speaker said. So data is so important. And many times, Mr. Speaker said, when it comes to data, we complain about the data, but the source of the data is us. They take the data from us. The United Nations Statistical Division got a meeting every year. When I was there, I think only a few times, no more me attended. So how do you expect them to put accurate data when you don't show? I got the pupulum data from years old. Using. We have to be very, very involved in data. A lot of the things swirl around data. The importance of data is so important, Mr. Speaker. Our government is well aware of this here. That is why they're very much involved in data collection, setting database so that we can measure how far we've come. Mr. Speaker, sir, the peace and ecclesiastical affairs, so important. I think some of the outstanding issues that the Minister already raised in terms of what they will be dealing with is very important in terms of some long outstanding issues now. I think the country needs to move on here. When we keep on hearing references to things that happened years and years ago that haven't been sorted yet, in terms of some commitments that the government may have made, it makes the new generation who are born, much of our population don't know anything about the dark days. Much of our population was born after 99, early 2000. When we talk about Ramsey or Sem Saval, no meaning na Ramsey what? Tension what ba? That's the population of the country we're dealing with now. So it's important to look and address the past, but at the same time, we need to do it carefully and move ahead. Move ahead, because the population is looking ahead, Mr. Speaker. Our people are looking ahead, Mr. Speaker. Public service, the Minister said, very important ministry for me. And I think it's about time that, yes, some of that initiatives that are done is perhaps in the best for the nation and for public service as well. The new categories I would see cater for some of the issues that our top-ranking professionals have been dealing with, or have been saying for some time. But it takes time, for sure, in terms of implementing these. So we look forward to the bill when it comes in and to see what we can do to support that bill moving forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, when it comes to the productive sector, once again, the Governor-General says that agriculture must never be seen as a food production only, but must be dealt with as a holistic platform for development in Solomon Islands. I couldn't agree more with that, Mr. Speaker, sir. Agriculture, once again, is the backbone of this country in terms of economic development. Why do we say that? We keep saying it every time. People say, yeah, but why? Because most of our population involved in agriculture every day. Most are still subsistence lifestyle. Still going to the garden, still fishing for their livelihoods, wake up in the morning, think about what they're going to have from the garden. That is all they know, what they know, Mr. Speaker, sir. So at this time, let's find something to get them busy. Further to their growing of their crops for food, let's find something that they can grow for some cash. Very, very important in terms of agriculture. Let us make use of this gluten-free craze that's sweeping the world right now. You go into the supermarkets, you will find packages of tapioca powder, tapioca flour, they call it. A lot of people can't eat bread nowadays. They only eat bread made out of tapioca. Let's turn all our tapioca into powder, flour. Add value, sell them to this market out there who are waiting to eat this tapioca flour. Hey, it's expensive to us, Mr. Speaker. We need no flour. Tapioca flour no, Mr. Man. To us na, yeah? Staka tapioca, or some no good no more, but people overseas like him to us tapioca flour. Let's look at those potentials, study them, see where we can enter those markets. These are things our people can do. Maybe we can have yam flour too. Once again, this is where R&D comes in, research and development. We need that particular component that's missing so that they do all the studies. They find the right ways, the right tapioca species to produce more flour from. Waka from that one. They can people take them selling at a better price for their tapioca. Root crops, very important, Mr. Speaker, in terms of what our people can do now. No need for capacity training more. People have a plan in tapioca. Eh? There's been other governments in the past that have tried to bring in rice, but rice took thousands of years for the people who can grow rice to get used to how to grow rice. You mean no more arrive with the rice, man? What man is how a plant potato? Eh? Transfer that one from potato to rice. But it takes a long learning curve. A long learning curve. You have to be a long time for sitting with the mogata. Patient with the mogata. Eh? Otherwise, something where the sabe have a plant and finish, it means maximizing. Find the markets for that. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hear also there's reference to the proposal to establish special economic zones to attract foreign investment, create job opportunities, and enhance economic resilience. Mr. Speaker, I question why we need special economic zones. Special economic zones are quite specific to certain location of countries. For us in the Solomons, I think, if we're following the classical sense of an economic zone, Bahem lo border lo Vanuatu or lo border lo Papua New Guinea. That is where the customs have a new law that deals with goods coming in there. The taxes that are in that zone are different from the taxes that are going to be in the country. Import and export is done usually in special economic zones. Global economic zone am happen no malohia lohonera mi ba surprise to mas. You mi bara inside local country no special economic zone inside molo. Special economic zones by definition are always at the border. Mostly at the border, generally. But industrial parks, Mr. Speaker, industrial parks doesn't mean that there needs to be a new law creating something inside that special economic zone that exempt them from what happened in the rest of the country. It doesn't. It just gives them breaks, tax breaks for coming and work out their manufacture. They still have to operate under our laws of the country. I think this is an idea. If we want to create jobs, then I think industrial park is a job creator more than special economic zones. Some examples of poor economic zones include now some of our gangs coming more involved more or gambling, or borders, or countries, where the laws of the country don't apply. So they use that. We don't want to create something that will create even bigger problem. That instead of we take them selling now, come back from that one, everyone exempt no more inside the economic zone. The same exemption which struggling with, the minister is struggling with here, and become formalized and legalized inside of there. How are we going to get our money, Mr. Speaker? I think there are other ways we can do it, because this is a loaded concept. It's well defined. Special economic zones are well defined. What it means, what is expected from them. What the hosting countries, usually two countries that are border, hosting now zone the middle logata, where I'm special economic zone, where the laws of both countries don't necessarily apply, exempted from certain things, including import duties, export duties. Everything here am a little bit flow a little bit different from what am happening in some countries. Is that what we want, Mr. Speaker, sir? I think there are other similar concepts, but don't allow for wholesale new laws in a different zone. Still respect our laws. You're in a sovereign country, Solomon Islands. This is the best we can offer for you for a tax break. Energy costs, we can subsidize this much for you. But everything else, the biggest thing we want to get from that is manufacturing, value addition, and job creation, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I would just like to find out a bit more about this, because I have some reservations if it's really just economic zones. There are other similar concepts, but do not commit ourselves towards perhaps creating what we're trying to defeat here by encouraging it more within our own country. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think when it comes to our infrastructure and our feeder roads, as was mentioned, big part of it as well has to do with the drainage. It's all part of that. It's all and well we make roads, tar seal and asphalt, but I think as a minister, I'm sure it's part of the plan that the drainage part of it is as important as the road itself, Mr. Speaker, sir. And some of the places will need to be raised perhaps higher. Mr. Speaker, you saw we finish now, where now road, a name highway come from? You mean highway na? Highway is because literally the road is high. What about a building up road high? For stop now flooding, stop now rain spoiler. If I'm low, I'm not even for finding front local subsea front here. Needs to be high. Make them highway, time we call them, meaning low highway na. Make people understand them. No what things say we highway for nothing. Highway means a high road now. Staga gravel, stone, upum road high. I travel down along the road down to Tetere. We're looking through. The infrastructure there is looking good. Road is being built up higher than the normal plane. That is a beginning of highway. Look there. Takes a lot of money through now, but it's worth it. Less maintenance later. Mr. Speaker, sir, productive sector, very important for us to continue to work in. And then when we come to the questions on our land, that is something that I think we need to handle with care, very carefully. Over here, we see the Governor General referring to customary land recording processes that are already ongoing. I, for one, Mr. Speaker, I support this customary land recording processes. It actually records a boundary, customary land boundaries that are delineated within a customary land area. That I welcome. But there's also, Mr. Speaker, sir, reference by the Governor General, after recording, the land holding group can apply to have their land registered. That statement is something that we need to really think carefully about. What is it we're trying to do? We should not change our customs to pander to some economic Western concepts, that perhaps including banking, security, and collaterals, Mr. Speaker. I think it's more important to look at our customs and culture. If we start to register customary land, then we're moving towards a system that is UK, a torrent system. Registration of land is not custom. Custom law, we follow any registration of land. You won't come inside, no tribe, I have no meaning by registering more, or parcel or piece there for you more. I think we need to be very clear in terms of what it is we're trying to do in terms of land reform policies that the Governor General has mentioned here. New creations of customary land, perpetual estate, customary land and customary land now, heavily protected under the Constitution, under the Lands and Titles Act. Very hard for somebody to come in for take him. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think we need to stick to our culture. One of the saving graces of a country like Solomon Islands is that everybody who's born, who's a Solomon Islander, can trace back his tribes down to a tribe and a land. Not all countries in the world are like this, Mr. Speaker. We need to really look into what it is we're trying to do with the land registration of customary land. We don't want to do something that would cause an even bigger issue down the line. Let's have the foresight to really think more deeply about what it is we're trying to do with our customary land, which is a safety net for us. We don't have any other safety nets except for our land, Mr. Speaker, and that is enough for many of us to know that the land is there. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would just like to caution to really dive more deeper into what it means to register customary land. If it is something just to be for economic purposes, then maybe we'll need to rethink really carefully. Because our customary land are more than just a commodity. Mr. Speaker, you know very well that our customary land are part of us. We are not commodities. Our land, customary land, is not just an economic commodity. It is much more deeper than that. And if we're talking basic economics and pure economics, then it's a scarcity of land that is an issue. If that is an issue, then let's deal with that particular issue of scarcity. How to deal with scarcity? What are the opportunity costs? If you conserve this area for conservation, what's going to happen with that other area that we're trying to develop for certain other developments? These are the kinds of policy decisions that we need to make rather than simply coming out and registering customary land. I think it's more of an issue of scarcity, Mr. Speaker, sir. You mean small island no more? We're one of the biggest small islands in the Pacific. but we're still a small island. Land is scarce, and it's already within tribal groups. So the idea is that we need to continue to work with them and their system. Some of them have been working on the system for a long time. Allow them that opportunity to complete the work that they've been doing, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I think we as Solomon Islanders here, we all know that land is more than just a commodity for us. It is much deeper than that, Mr. Speaker. National urbanization policy to promote employment and economic growth in provincial centers. We all know that urbanization is something that is done on its own accord. Mr. Speaker, sir, if there's development there, people will drift towards an opportunity they think is there. The bright lights of Honiara, people are coming here because they think there's opportunity here in Honiara. If we create something, we have to be very deliberate about what it is we're trying to create. Otherwise, we go beyond what we are capable of. Mr. Speaker, sir, we cannot create just a township. A township is there for a purpose. Whether it be administrative purposes, it will have a certain administrative flavor, Mr. Speaker, sir. If it's one based around a certain economic activity, it will have a certain flavor, different from the administrative centers, Mr. Speaker, sir. And you know very well, traveling around the world, you will go to a capital like Canberra. Canberra is very different from Sydney. They have very focused on certain activities that define that particular urban environment. So once again, our policies have to be deliberate into what it is we're doing. Let's find an economic activity that is specific to a certain place. Perhaps that is where urbanization can start developing. Economic activity is usually the main driver for urbanization. Schools will pop up, churches will pop up around that, and you will see economic growth around that particular area or locality. Mr. Speaker, sir. So, I mean, if the government wants to create this, then it might be a reach too far, Mr. Speaker, sir. The resources that you would expend just to create some urban area, focus on the economic activity first, and then they will come. People will come, schools will come, urbanization will happen, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the fisheries part of our component of our economy is so important. And we heard earlier as well from the Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker, that fisheries seems to be our hope again. Expecting some 300 million coming from fisheries sector. It has always been there, but now it seems to be coming back again. Logging, well, perhaps is on the wane. Fisheries has always been consistently there. And we know full well the importance of fisheries. To us, our livelihoods, many of our people are fisher folk themselves for their own food security. Mr. Speaker, sir. And I think when it comes to fisheries, the benefits that we can derive from that particular industry are still to be fully taken advantage of. And here I expand beyond fisheries to marine resources. Beyond just fisheries, Mr. Speaker, sir. Marine resources is where I think the future of Solomon Islands lies. Why do I say this? I say this because 98% of Solomon Islands is sea. Only 2% no more land. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have over 1.8 million square kilometers of sea compared to 22,000 square kilometers of land. That is a huge, huge asset that this country has, Mr. Speaker, and I think that is where the future of Solomon Islands lies. It is in the blue. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that even in the forum, with the leaders' meetings, ministers attending, the Blue Pacific, the focus on the Blue Continent, as some would like to call, is so important to us. I think for Pacific Islands, we know that the ocean is key. But I think here again, research and development is a big issue. And here, Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a proposal to the government, if they want to take on board, to seek partnerships for the establishment of a regional marine science research center in Solomon Islands. I've heard that there was some oceanographic kind of a center with China. I'm not too sure that it captures actually what is in UNCLOS, part 13 of UNCLOS in particular, that speaks about the establishment of regional marine scientific centers in regions. Why don't we put our hands up, Mr. Speaker, and host that for the Pacific in Solomon Islands? Beyond the research and the science, one of the big components is that this center will be the center, according to UNCLOS, that would look at transfer of technology. To facilitate the transfer of technology, so that any technology that needs to be transferred, that of course us in the Pacific, definitely us in the Solomons don't have, but others who do have, let us be that facility, that conduit, through which transfer of technology, which is the biggest headache to anybody, because much of this technology are developed by private sector. They don't want to give up all their research work for nothing. But the idea is that these centers will help with the facilitation of transfer of technology, of marine technologies. Why don't GNUT look at utilizing and implementing Part 13 of UNCLOS? Look for partners who are willing to partner with us. That is already in black and white in the law of the sea, the constitution of the oceans. As Kofi Annan once said, so important that we look into this particular opportunity and we jump on it. It can be an extension of SINU. It could be an extension of this oceanographic announcement that we just heard. But if we not announcing oceanographic nothing, kakam with something where I'm grounding. In international law, that obligation will there finish. You mean on it for forcing what people there. What I read him no more, what sign them finish. Come. You know, Mr. Speaker, start a ways where we start talking with people and point them normal or obligations below that. And by what come. We just need to know what no obligations here. Stakalogata. What hope that Imi no sabe. You know, Mr. Speaker, there's obligation that they should help our tuna industry, providing boats for us to build our own capacity in fishing. It's in UN resolutions, obligations in there. Sometimes some of them do, they give us old boats. I'm also end of life boats now. Arrival here and look also I'm ready for wreck now. No, let's go for new ones. Let's build up our fishing fleet. Because that is the formula in UNCLOS that talks about licensing that comes in. If you don't have a capacity to fish, that's why you have to open your oceans. If we have the capacity to fish, then why do we open our oceans for other people to come? That is the reality, and that's a legal obligation that's already under international law. We can make use of it. Mr. Speaker, GNUT, Chance Naya. Mr. Speaker, sir, climate change is indeed a huge threat to us. But I think I also share the sentiments that while we go out overseas and we talk about this threat, internally we don't do much ourselves to address this. Maybe because of resource scarcity, challenges and pressures in our budget. But I think there are ways whereby we can look into doing things ourselves to try and address this issue that is the scourge of the whole world. But I think it's worth us taking the effort to start looking into things ourselves when it comes to climate change. So important. Mr. Speaker, sir, there's also reference here where the Governor-General spoke about the need to ensure responsible and sustainable mining sector. Responsible and sustainable mining sector. I like the word responsible. I'm not too sure about sustainable, because mining, as we know, is not sustainable. Mining is not a sustainable kind of product. Once you mine something, you finish. And finish now. I'm also hard for you, wait more for someone mine more. Go grow, come back. Mr. Speaker said, but responsible. I think that's a key word there. I think responsible mining is so important for us. The idea to better promote a fair benefit sharing, I think that one, a natural one, no more. People blame me, are sort of looking for it, especially if there's mining concession in their land. We all know, Mr. Speaker, as you sabe finish, much of our mining agreements are about access. Access to land, where underneath here, what the mineral stuff there. It's about access here. Start alone about access. What is the value of us accessing your land? Lebet royalty by come to, from one underneath there. But we all know currently under our laws, and block crown, and block government. So those are issues in terms of policy that the government, IRC, are looking into. Energy, we already spoke of. Increasing the reliance on the energy infrastructure is something I'm not too sure about what is meant there. But I think when it comes to this particular issue of energy, is something that is well overdue. We know that as a small islands, cost of energy will be relatively high, comparatively high, compared to any other countries. In fact, if you look at the top 10 list of most expensive, it will feature a few small islands in there. And that's natural. But I think for us to be number one, I think it's enough now in terms of cost of electricity. You mean go on number 2 or 3? I think a minister is definitely working on this so that we decrease. You may come down no charts a little bit. You mean number one for a long time now, or number one no charts. Let's come down. I think it's so important because a lot of the development, economic development that the plan that I see are very good here is all hinged upon power, electricity. Investors also look into that. So that is a big, big issue for us Solomon Islands to look into. And then while it's not mentioned in the beginning in terms of the focus of the government, it's mentioned towards the end of the statement that the government will enhance forestry management by developing and implementing policies on forest plantation, development and reforestation. Strengthen deforestation initiatives such as carbon markets and REDD+. Mr. Speaker, sir, when you want to do REDD+, you have to be very clear about what it is you're doing in terms of our logging, timber utilization, because those two don't necessarily sit together. You talk about REDD+, you're talking about conservation for climate change, emissions, carbon sequestration that needs forests to capture carbon from the air and give him oxygen. Very different from Katemo tree. So I think the need to strike a balance in terms of that particular sector is important. But I think in terms of government policy, if you were to take a position, I would go with these conservation initiatives more. Allow where needs to be harvested, but where the natural beauty of Solomon Islands and the trees that are, especially those up in the mountains, that you can't even log anyway, allow them to be growing. Give them special status, Mr. Speaker, sir. You know, a few governments ago, there was this initiative that was endorsed by the cabinet about Sky Islands. Sky Islands, Mr. Speaker, refers to our mountains in Solomon Islands. Yeah, we might be small islands, but Mountain Blue, I'm highest than any mountain law. Australia. Mount Pop Manisawi, I'm higher than any mountain law Australia. So we are known as Sky Islands because the vegetation up on the mountains are so different and unique to us in the Solomons from their cousins of forests down by the coast. The flora and fauna that are there, the biodiversity that is there is unique only to Solomon Islands. And that is something that we should continue to treasure. That we're doing this not only for ourselves, but in respect of God's creation. Or it's something I'll be managing, because they exude the glory of God with all this flora and fauna that are only unique to Solomon Islands. And when we do that, sir, if we do that well, the calculations have been made, Mr. Speaker. If you conserve these higher reaches of Solomon Islands that we are known for mountains, then you can conserve up to 20% of Solomon Islands land. If we do that, Mr. Speaker, talk about radical transformation. We will be the talk of the world. No country has done that. And in terms of biodiversity convention, climate change convention, any can basket where what staplo there, you got a permission for all inside. Using for developing more Yumi in a sustainable manner. Develop those ecotourism down by the coast, up on the hills. That is innovation. That is new way of thinking that Solomon Islands would take the lead in, Mr. Speaker. And that is already an area where we can really look into benefiting from when it comes to our unique biodiversity. Mr. Speaker, I note at the end of the statement there that the legislative program is listed, and I've picked up again from some of the statements from honourable ministers that there are perhaps some additional ones that are coming as well. But I noted that there's 12 that were listed by the Governor-General, all of which have 2024 already provisionally here. I note that we're already coming towards the end of 2024. And I think we don't want to call the Governor-General, to call him out as he's not telling the truth. But it would be good to have all of this legislation come before us in the next sittings of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, so that we can really pass some laws before the end of this year. It is fast approaching, but I see the State-owned Enterprise Amendment Bill is there. It's an amendment. The Special Economic Zone Bill is there. I've already given some thoughts initially on that. Value added, the VAT is there. Mineral resources. National Building Standard Bill is there. Citizenship by Investment Bill is there. Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise Bill is there. Public Service Bill is there. Civil Registration Bill is there. Forest and Timber Utilization Amendment. Provincial Government Amendment Bill. And then Immigration Bill. On top of that, there were others as well. I think price control as well was mentioned. But I think all of this have great significance on Solomon Islands and our people. So I'd just like to encourage Mr. Speaker to bring these bills as soon as possible into Parliament. And I would also like to add that work that was mentioned by the Honourable Prime Minister on the reform of the Electoral Act, I think needs to come in as soon as possible as well, Mr. Speaker said. Some of the recommendations that was mentioned is something that already been workshopped by parliamentarians at the 11th House, but I think it's something that can be done again so the newer members of Parliament can also have a say in this recommendations for amendment in our electoral processes. But I think We have learned a few lessons there, that it's so important that we need to do the reforms early in the life of Parliament rather than at the dying hours of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, sir, so that the awareness campaign can continue, so that our people are aware of what is to come at the next elections, so that the work can continue to do that for us, Mr. Speaker, sir. Again, the Prime Minister, I'm not too sure whether he did mention about the potential for the Constituent Assembly perhaps maybe not able to meet by the end of this year. If that is the case, then it would recommend, not recommend, but call for another amendment in our Constitution, Section 61 again, that was amended already, so that it's clear to everybody that this won't be happening this year, but to have a clear date as well as to when, so that our people who are perhaps gearing up for this are also well advanced, aware, well advanced before they start asking questions of us. I say us, Mr. Speaker, sir, because these things are passed through Parliament, as you know. So it might be a policy for GNUT, but in the end, it's us, Parliament, that we adopt these laws. So I cover all of us in this House under this umbrella. So important, particularly on this important issue, that if indeed the assessment is made that for whatever reason we can't have this in December 2024, then the amendment needs to be brought in as soon as possible, so that we can do it, and it's awareness to everybody out there who have a vested interest in this very important part of our nationhood. The Prime Minister mentioned as well the residents, Tier 1 residents and all of that. I think that is very much welcomed. As a sovereign nation, it is incumbent upon us to have these residences for our highest offices. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I remembered when I was a child, we will have to move out of the house too, yeah? Same time Parliament in, no more, we will homeless now. Look at the more house will stay inside. Because residents for PM has to be vacated. Residents for leader of opposition have to be vacated. So we will go back to the village now. So sometimes school on, but me go back to the village for stand. Wait for election finish more than look any house, new house on the more. Kind of sense. Mr. Speaker, that in itself, it's not about the person, it's about the office. The office is so important that we have to have that respect for that office, Mr. Speaker. You, me people, no cross lot of man stays at lot house here. No more. It's our system, our process that allows our leaders to stay in these state residences. It's so important, Mr. Speaker. That is something that I welcome this, because I think it brings back the importance of these assets that will be the government's assets. I also note here, though, that the funding will be by, I don't know, it's not us. It seems to be funding is already set for this one, and as we've heard as well mentioned, that perhaps it's going to be funded by one of our development partners. That in itself is very much welcome, but at the same time, it's a little bit shame too, Mr. Speaker, that somebody now can build him house blue me physically now. These are assets, sovereign assets, that we should be able to do it ourselves if we think so important about it. But I think, I within politics or people think wrong about house here. These are house for the offices that hold the highest, people that hold the highest level of offices here. That's what we should be putting money towards for doing. But in any case, I think development partners who have put their hands up for doing this, I think it's so important. Mr. Speaker, tell me, small boy, me I ask him too, all man blumi, yeah? Why now you like wearing long socks all the way? If you will remember, all man blumi, all man like wearing socks too much, yeah? No matter wearing shoes, socks kasi nina. Mina, man for put on socks every morning, out them socks, cleaning boot, polishing. I'm telling one something, lo me no forget them. Me say me wear them because me respect them office, me stay inside. Hot a socks, hot too, yeah. Be but also me so wear them too, but office here na me respect them. If me no respect them office, who not I respect them? That taught me a big lesson in terms of the importance of these offices that you me everyone lo here comes back to the integrity that me sabe you me everyone lo here garem that you me need for all them what offices blame me. Very, very, very dear to us. I mean, no for you me seleva, I mean, for country where me privileged for represent them. And that is something that me sabe you me 50 falalo here, you me full aware of it no more. But it's good to be reminded now and again. So we welcome that, the residents, and of course the talk for the other ones. Encouraging whoever I'm like fund them. Encourage him now because they let look no mas me. Let them if what like can find them as long as I got no flying flag block till there. Not now we must know alarm what doing. Solomon Island flag no must fly inside, and that is very, very important for us. Then we see again. Look here, the anti-corruption agenda is very big as well in GNUT, very welcome. Prime Minister also mentioned that, and that is something that we very much support, and that is very much welcomed as well. This issues about citizenship by investment, also mentioned by the Prime Minister, is something that I think successive past governments have been talking about. That has its pitfalls, but also has the potential for a new stream of revenue for coming to country. That's a sovereign decision that a country will have to make. The executive, of course, is part of this, but there are, of course, certain disadvantages too, in terms of making sure that it works well for us as a nation and doesn't take away from our status as a Solomon Islands passport holder. I say this because I think there's other countries that are also doing the same thing. Citizenship investment programs. I think that is something that other countries are also seeking to mobilize resources to augment and complement their own revenue collection that have been there for some time. So of course it's going to be one of these non-taxed ones, but I think it's something that needs to be looked at. I think the choice of who you want to bring in is very important in terms of this particular space. There's a few companies out there, few entities that might want to be involved here. Some are better than others, Mr. Speaker said. But of course, the bottom line is the selection of people that are coming in and how it might impact our own standing of passport, Mr. Speaker said. We know now that Solomon Island has been granted access to the European Union, for example, where you can arrive in the European Union without a visa. That's something to put our friends Australia and New Zealand to shame. That you can arrive at the European Union, UK, without a visa and be there for about, I don't know, 3 months. Walk about around a little bit. I don't know. Whereas if you go to Oversea, hey man, you have to pay visa more. Next door neighbor no more. So I say, hey, next door neighbor, time you barbecue or something, meat is smell nice, but time you come to the house, believe more. I'm looking at me pay more for coming. These are issues that we can discuss with our friends on what it is that we need to do on our side too, for us in terms of that particular entry to our neighboring countries as well. But in terms of visa, citizenship, it's very, very important that we look at this very carefully, Mr. Speaker. Currently, I think our passport is ranked about 34th in the ranking of all the passports in the world. That is why many people are very covetous. Coveting too much now, passport for Solomon Islands, because it allows them access into places that their own passports cannot allow them to go. Visa-free. I'm not saying, Mr. Speaker said. Some man not taking passport, bling no time in New York, what are in come to, yeah? Or in come lo ambassador mission blame there, ask for renew of the Solomon Islands passport. But me here, I'm not an ambassador, but struggle to communicate because no matter English, boss knows I have a dream too. Somebody must translate for him, come. Mr. Speaker, these things, and by demote him now, reflect badly the program, because it will start to flag red flags across people who are accepting our passports for us to go into their country. They will start to flag things. Man, I don't know money taking passport blame, but for to talk about that one and no more now. But we know passports flow from citizenship. You have to have citizenship currently before you are entitled to passport. Citizenship and passport go hand in hand. This one, I'm looking for citizenship by no part to us, but passport na ya. Mr. Speaker, sir. Me work at the United Nations, people asking passport for Solomon too. Me say, me no work for Solomon Islands. Me work for United Nations here. But it just goes to show that these rich people who, very interested in getting more than one passport and are willing to pay the price for it. Very, very interesting in terms of this particular issue. But I would like to, as the government explores this, I see it's already listed as a bill to come before Parliament. The benefit is there in terms of money coming in, but at the same time, there are also disadvantages in terms of the value of the passport that allowed for this to happen in the first place. So it's one of those stuck between a rock and a hard place kind of situation. But it's a sovereign decision. The executive have decided to bring a bill. We look forward to looking at that bill, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, we're looking at the Leavers Solomon Island settlement as well here, as mentioned by the Prime Minister. We did have a briefing by the lawyers that are representing the Commissioner and the government into this particular issue, and the recommendations that have been given to the lawyer and the instructions. And that is something that is well understood by those of us who were there. But at the same time, due diligence will continue to be a big issue to make sure that whatever we agree to is not something that will come back to haunt us again in the future, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's important, if there's an opportunity to settle it, perhaps we'll look at doing that, but at the same time, let's do it in a way that is taking into account due diligence, all the protections that's needed to ensure that we are doing this in the right way, in the right manner. And this is perhaps the best possible way to do it. Isn't there any other pathway? If there is, then let's explore that as well, so that we have all pathways covered, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the elections, one of the issues that was raised by the Prime Minister that I'd just like to highlight here before I close is the ordinarily resident. I think it was very bold by the Prime Minister to come out to say that this is one issue that we need to settle. And if that's the case, if that's a policy of the government, then bring it early so that this issue can be clarified to our people, ordinarily resident, so that we know how long now people need for stapler one place before to qualify for vote there. What now criteria, ordinarily resident, as awesome, because that is very important for our people to know in terms of the elections and that particular process. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think the private sector is so important, as referred to by the Prime Minister, and I think all our private sector in the Solomons are looking forward to working closely as they have done with the government. But once again, policies that the government are setting forward to them would drive a lot of the activities or new investment into the country, Mr. Speaker, sir. The idea of joint venture, I think, is something that needs to be revived if it is not part of the policy of the government, so that our capacity of those of our people can also be built over time when they are partnering with investors that bring in new technology that would allow our people to learn and also improve, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the idea of joint venturing, when we talk to investors, perhaps ensuring that they come, be prepared to joint venture with a local company or a few local companies, if that be the case for them. And that should go across all our, across the board, so that our people and our companies can have that opportunity to experience as well the latest technologies that are transferred during projects or programs that investors would come to do, particularly in the infrastructure sector, but in others as well, Mr. Speaker. So I thank you. I think as well reference was made by the Deputy Prime Minister to the Water Resource Bill, water management. Look forward to that in terms of what that will bring for us, knowing full well the announcement made recently that Siwa or Solomon Islands Water is no longer a SOE. So we look forward very much, Minister, to this water resource bill that is listed to be brought forward to this Parliament as well. Of course, I mentioned already the MID, and once again thank him for that, and all the work that is happening on our roads, bridges around the Solomons, including wharves. When it comes to the issue of land, I've already talked about that, and the Minister also mentioned that in his remarks as well, and contribution, and that is something that we very much welcome and look forward to in more detail as we walk on towards implementation of some of the policies, including some of the legislation that might be brought before Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, once again, thank you so much for indulging the member for East Arare to share and contribute to this important debate. Once again, I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for allowing us the opportunity to contribute to the speech from the throne, a customary speech that I also have to acknowledge the former Prime Minister for perhaps starting this in our Parliament, allowing us to debate. We can say whatever we want on this side, but if at the end of the day, the executive, you have all the power, you have all the authority to shape where our country is going. We can only lend some advice. We hope that it's constructive in terms of some of the advice that we have said today, in terms of how you might take it. It's a take it or leave it, but at the same time, it's worthy sharing some of our thoughts on this very important speech from the throne. And in closing, just to once again to join others that have congratulated the Governor General as well, new Governor General that we've had, now taken office since independence, 7th of July, on behalf of the people of East Arare, the chiefs, the church leaders, women, youth and children. We'd like to extend our congratulations to the Governor General, Reverend David Tiva Kapu, for his ascension and assumption to the position of Vice Regal Solomon Islands, representing His Majesty the King, Charles III, here in Solomon Islands. With those remarks, I support the motion and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable members, I think we will continue the debate tomorrow. So I will take that the last contributor to the motion is the MP for East Arare. So, Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the debate on the question be now adjourned until the next sitting day.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Members, the question is that the debate be now adjourned until the next sitting day. All those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The debate, therefore, is now adjourned until the next sitting day.
Motion of special adjournment.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I move that at its adjournment on Tuesday, 10th September 2024, Parliament shall adjourn to Thursday, 12th September 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, the main reason for this special adjournment is to allow a good number of ministers to participate in the SIG Development Partners roundtable discussions that will happen tomorrow, so that we are able to participate in that important roundtable discussion. We have heard the important contributions that our development partners continue to contribute towards the development aspirations of this country, so that dialogue and that engagement is also important going forward. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the main reason for this special adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable members, it is proposed that at its adjournment on Tuesday, 10th September 2024, Parliament shall adjourn to Thursday, 12th September 2024. Any member who wishes to contribute to the motion before I put the question? Thank you, Honourable MP for West Area and Chairman of Bills and Legislation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to give support to the motion of a special adjournment moved by the Honourable Minister. The reason given this side of the House and no current problem with them supporting, it's important that our ministers they carry out their duty and responsibility on behalf of our people in the government. So we stand for supporting this one motion. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Honourable MP for West Area. Any other members wish to contribute to that motion? Otherwise, I will now put the question. Sorry. Honourable Minister for National Planning and Development, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Speaker, and also in support of motion of a special adjournment. Mr. Speaker, as already led by the Honourable Prime Minister, that tomorrow that dialogue with our development partners, and that will be required government, especially ministers, as Speaker, in terms of development in the country. For the last 5 years, that around 13.6 billion was supported through from our development partners. So the dialogue tomorrow is important, because government for national unity and transformation is important to making sure that the assistance from our partners align well to our NDS and of course the government priority. With that, Mr. Speaker, supporting the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And we thank you, Honourable MP for East Arare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just on that point about partners, just wanted to know who are attending, which partners are coming, if that information can be shared at this time. Otherwise, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Speaker. According to the tomorrow's donors dialogue, around 95 of our development partners, that's including our bilateral, multilateral, and others, especially like our NGOs, and so that's almost all of them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. And with those comments, let me now put the question. The question is that adjournment, that the adjournment on Tuesday, 10th September 2024, Parliament shall adjourn to Thursday, 12th September 2024. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is therefore passed. And honourable members, in accordance with the earlier resolution of this House, and pursuant to Standing Order 10.5, the House is now adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, 12 September 2024.